Diane and Rens Love Story. Chapter 1. Excuse me ma'am, pukaw ng flight attendant kay Diane Antonio. Bago siya banayad ni tinapik sa balikat. Saglit siyang nagitla at pagkway tumingin dito. Please fasten your seatbelt ma'am. Diane looked around her, a bit confused and momentarily disoriented. Then she realized that she was in an airplane. Any minute now, we are going to land in Naiya Airport ma'am. The flight attendant gave her a friendly smile before she turned to check the other passengers. She yawned, fumbled for her seatbelt and snapped it. A few minutes later, lumapag na ang eroplano. Madaling araw na nang makarating siya sa Pilipinas. Mula roon ay nagtaksi siya patungo sa pinakamalapit na hotel. The place looked quite familiar as she checked in, but she just shrugged it off. Pagod siya. Kaya nagtungo na siya sa kanyang kwarto. Nag-shower at bumaba sa coffee shop ng hotel upang magkape. Hindi pa siya halos nakakarating sa barista, ay agad niyang napansin ng isang pamilyar na tao sa di kalayuan. Nanlaki ang kanyang mga mata at hindi maiwasang kabahan. And that was the moment when their eyes met. Did he recognize her? Of course. He fucking did it. It was just a few years and nothing changed about her. Hindi na niya hinintay pa na mas makilala siya nito. Dali-dali siyang lumabas ng coffee shop at dumiretso sa kwarto niya sa itaas. She was catching her breath as she stared at the wall. Hindi niya akalaing ngayon niya ito agad makikita. Dahil akala niya ay aabutin pa ng ilang araw bago silang muling magkita. She clutched her head as a splitting headache formed into it. Umiling siya. Please, she didn't even want to remember the past. Sinubukan niyang kalmahin ang sarili. Nag-isip kung paano gagawing abala ang araw upang hindi maisip ang lalaki. Then a thought formed inside her head. Si James. Pupuntahan niya si James at si Germany. Kakakasal lang ng kanyang kakambal sa kababata nila kahapon. Isa na rin sa dahilan kung bakit siya nagmamadaling umuwi sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi naman kailangan. Hindi nga lang siya nakahabol dahil sa photoshoot niya. Tutal, matagal-tagal na namang hindi siya nakakapunta sa bukirin ni James. Simula noong she stopped, ayaw niyang alalahanin iyon. She rented a car and decided to visit James and her twin sister. Pagkarating niya sa bahay ni James ay nagkwentuhan agad sila ng binata. Maraming pagbabago ang nangyari dito. Lalo itong naging gwapo sa 5 taong pinagdaanan nito. And to think that James was her biggest crush back then. Dahil si James ang naging knight in shining armor niya noong bata pa siya. Naaalala pa niyang lagi niya itong kinukulit, pero hindi ito naaasar bagkos ay ngumingiti pa. She smiled at the memories. Pagkatapos ng mahabang oras ay nagpaalam na siya. Congratulations again James, she said sincerely, smiling at him. James pat her head. Niyakap niya ito na para bang sa isang kapatid na lalaki. Bagay na kahit kailanman ay hindi niya naranasang magkaroon. Bahagyang nagulat ang lalaki. Subalit nakabawi rin at ginantihan siya ng yakap. Bago siya umalis ay may ibinulong pa. May ibinulong siya. Oh please, don't break my sister's heart. Didn't you know that she has no heart? Pabirong tanong nito. She smirked then asked. She smirked and asked. Don't worry about her attitude. It was only a protective armor. But in reality, she is actually soft inside. Naglakad na siya patungo sa sasakyan. Diane then shrugged her shoulder. Ikamusta mo na lang ako kay Jermaine, goodbye. Pagkatapos magpaalam ay sumakay na siya sa sasakyan at nagmaniobra. Malapit na siya sa hotel nang makalimutan niyang ibigay ang kwintas na ireregalo niya kay Jermaine. Bumalik siya sa bukirin ni James. Naglakad siya patungong pintuan. Nakakarinig pa siya ng mamumunting iyak na parang sa pusa. Binaliwala niya iyon at patuloy sa paglalakad. James, may nakalimutan akong Oh my God! Napatutup siya sa kanyang bibig at nahulog ang maliit na paper bag na dala-dala niya. She was stunned and shocked for a moment. Ganon din sila James at Jermaine. Shock and embarrassment were all over her face. This was her first time to see people making out. And the words of it? Nasasahig ang mga ito. Unang nakabawi ang kanyang kakambal. Hinulak nito si James at agad na isinuot ang t-shirt bago tumayo. Dala naman ng kahihiyan ay tumalikod siya at kumaripas ng takbo. Ngali-ngali pa niyang sipain ang sarili nang maalalang honeymoon nga pala ng mag-asawa. Kung pwede nga lang nalamunin siya ng lupa ay matagal na niyang ginawa. Naputol ang daloy ng kanyang iniisip nang biglang siyang may mabanggang matigas na bagay. Natumba siya sa lupa. "Ouch, my ass shit," she whimpered. "So it was really you at the coffee shop in the hotel? Well, welcome back, princess." Wika ng buo at malalim na tinig na siyang may-ari ng matipunong dibdib na nabunggo niya. It was said sarcastically. Diane stiffened. Minsan man sa loob ng 5 taon, ay hindi niya makakalimutan ang tinig na yon. It was the voice that first attracted him to her. Slowly, she looked up and raised her shocked eyes to him. Then gasped, "Rens?" Chapter 2. Their eyes met and locked, and it was as if the time suddenly stopped. Ang mga mata niya ay puno ng pagkagulat at pagkalito dahil hindi niya inaasahan ang muli nilang pagtatagpo. Ay mismo sa sandaling iyon. Hindi rin niya inakalang susundan siya nito. Whereas Rens revealed nothing but emptiness. Una siyang nagbawi ng tingin. Kinagat niya ang ibabang labi at marahang tumayo. Pagkatapos ay pinagpag ang dumi sa damit. "What are you doing here, Prince Delgado?" Tanong ni James na hindi niya namalayan na nakasunod na pala ito sa kanya. Sa likod naman nito ay ang kakambal niya si Jeremy. Tumingin ito kay James at nagtaas ng kilay. "Have you forgotten? Birthday ngayon ni Grandpa and there will be a dinner party tonight sa mansyon." Pagkatapos magsalita ay humarap ito sa kanya at hinila siya patungong sasakyan nito. Diane was electrified, para bang nahawakan siya ng isang live wire nang magdawop ang kanilang mga balat. Kung maaari lang manatiling hawakan siya ng kamay na iyon. But 5 years ago, those rough hands gave her the pleasures. "Stop walking down the memory lane," Diane, naiiritang saway niya sa sarili. Nang makarating sila sa sakyan, ay binawi niya ang brasong hawak nito. Paasik niyang hinablot ang braso at isang nakamamatay na tingin ang pinungkol sa lalaki. "Pasok?" Tipid na utos nito sa kanya. Ngunit hindi siya pumasok sa loob ng sasakyan. Napabuntong hininga ang lalaki at dahan-dahang sinabi, "I said, get in. Ihahatid na kita sa hotel. Sasama ka sa akin mamaya sa dinner party. Baka kung saan ka na pumunta at hindi na bumalik pa." She rolled her eyes heavenward. "I rented a car, damn you. At hindi ako sasama sa'yo." Pinagtiinan. Narinig pa niya ang nakakalokong tawa ng lalaki na dahilan upang manggalaiti siya sa inis. Gusto niya itong sipain. She unlocked the door. Akma na niyang bubuksan ang pinto nang hatakin siya ni Rens na hindi niya namalayang sumunod pala sa kanya. Then Diane found her lips on his. Her fingers tangled in the silk of his hair as his mouth devoured hers, hot, wild, and hungry. He cupped the back of her head as he deepened the kiss. The other hand was pressed against her buttocks. Ipinasok siya nito sa loob at sinipa ang pinto pasara. Isinandal siya nito sa pintuan. He pressed his lower body part into her thighs, causing her to moan deliciously. Ngunit sandali lang ang pagnanasang naramdaman niya dahil agad bumalik sa katinuan ng kanyang isip. Ubod lakas niya itong itinulak. "Enough!" Pigil ang galit na saad niya habang naghahabol ng paghinga. Mabilis niyang binuksan ang pinto. "Get out, Rens." Rens ran his fingers through his hair and sighed in defeat. Pero nakikita niya pa rin sa mga mata nito ang apoy ng pagnanasa. Bago ito lumabas ay hinapit siya nito at dinampian ng halik ang kanyang labi. Mariin na para bang gusto siyang parusahan. "Nakuha ko na ang pasalubong ko." The corner of his lips tipped up. Her heart thudded violently. "Anyway, I'll pick you up at exactly 6 p.m. Don't wear a bunny suit. Take a rest, my dearest wife." Pagkuway, umalis na ito. Nanatili siyang nakatayo doon at nang makalayo ang lalaki ay pabalabag niyang isinirado ang pinto at nanlulumong humiga sa kama. Siya at si Rens Delgado ay mag-asawa. Walang nakakaalam nito, not even her twin sister and James, dahil inililihim niya. Pero ang pamilya ng binata ay alam ang bagay na iyon. No, she shook her head inwardly. Hindi niya gustong bigyan ng pagkakataong okupahin ni Rens ang nakaraan ng isip niya na minsan nang nangyayari. Ipinikit niya ang mga mata, umaasang kung ipapahinga niya ang isip ay mawawala ang pananakit ng kanyang ulo. Ngunit pilit talagang nangingibabaw sa isipan niya ang nakaraan hanggang sa makatulog siya. Chapter 3. Past. Diane was driving like a mad woman. Malilate na siya sa photoshoot niya. Diane Antonio was one of the top models in Vince Modeling Company o kilala sa tawag na VMC. Hindi sa kadahilan ng pagmamay-ari nila ang kumpanya, kaya siya ang naging isa sa mga top models nito ay dahil sa pagsisikap niya. Simula nang mamatay ang mami nila ay tumayo na siya sa sarili niyang paa. Nagsikap at nagtiyaga. This leads to her becoming one of the top models. Sa mga oras na ito ay katatapos lamang niyang dalawin ang puntod ng mami nila. Their mom died when she and Geraldine, her twin sister also known as Jeremy, were barely 15 years old. She died in a car accident. Her life was taken just like that, and it made a huge toll in their hearts, especially to her twin sister. Ang pagkamatay siguro ng mami nila ang naging dahilan upang magrebelde si Jeremy. Hindi pa rin siguro matanggap nito ang pagkamatay ng mami nila at sinisisi ang sarili sa lahat. Darn, Diane cursed inside her head. May nangilid na luha sa kanyang mga mata sa mga alaalaing iyon. Mabilis niyang pinahid ito gamit ang isang kamay. Lumiko siya at nagmenor upang mag-shortcut. Paliko na siya sa isang intersection nang isang mabilis na kotse ang biglang patawid. Mabilis na nagpreno ang dalaga at agad kinabig pa kanan ang kotse. Gahibla ang pagitan ng poste at ng kanyang kotse. Kung hindi lang sa mabilis na reflexes niya, ay baka matumbok niya mismo ang tagiliran ng kotseng tumawid. Isa pa marahil na dahilan ay subconsciously natitiyak niyang pag nalaman ng papa niya kahit man lang simpleng bangga ay hindi na siya nito pahahawakan ng madibela ulit. Pagalit niyang nilingon ang kotseng tumawid. Huminto ito sa tabi at bumaba ang sakay. Humihingal pa rin siya sa nerbiyos, pero tiyak niyang makakatikim ang buwisit na driver ng kotse na yon. Mabilis siyang bumaba ng kotse upang salubungin ito. Are you alright? The voice was deep, low and rich. Slowly, everything seemed to be in a slow motion as Diane turned her head and found herself looking right into the man's eyes. Dark brown eyes. The kind of eyes that made you melt. She felt she were sinking down into their depths. Is there any damage? Tanong ulit nito. Thanks to you, singhal niya dito nang makabawi. Bumaba taas ang dibdib niya sa inis. Kung hindi ka ba naman tatanga-tanga edi sana Wah, what a word, miss. Tatanga-tanga? Putol nito sa sasabihin niya. Binigyan pa ng emphasis ang huling mga salita. Pakay mo na kung ganito ako magsalita, asik niya dito. Naningkit ang mga mata ng lalaki. You know what? Ikaw pa lang ang nakakapagsalita sa akin ng ganyan. Anito sa mapanganib na tono. Bahagyang natigatig si Diane pero hindi nagpahalata. Bagkos pinakita ang buo ang kanyang loob. Nagawa pa niyang salubungin ang titig nito. So what? Wala akong pakialam kahit maulol ka dyan sa galit. Talaga bang may katalasan yung dila mo? Sabi ng lalaki na hindi alam kung matatawa o maiinis sa asal niya. Sir lang ako nakarinig ng disgusting word na maulol. Pinigil ng babae ang sarili na matawa. Panigurado ang katapat niya ay isang socialite kaya ganito kung makareact sa mga salita niya. Pasensya ka na dahil ang kausap mo ay hindi sosyal. Hindi ako miyembro ng isang elite group, she said sarcastically. Ngumisi ito, flashing a perfect and white teeth. He tilted his head to the side. Walang nakakatawa. Singhal niya dito. Nawala ang tuwang kanina niya nararamdaman at napalitan muli ng inis. Bumaba ang paningin ng lalaki sa blouse niya na hindi niya namalayang bahagyang nakaawang at nasisilip ang panloob. Napansin niya kung paano siya nitong titigan, kaya napasinghap siya at mabilis na tumalikod. Ngunit bigla siyang hinawakan sa braso nito at marahas na hinila. What's up? Niyapos siya nito. Her heart thudded violently, lalo pat naramdaman niya ang pag-angat niya sa lupa. Pagkatapos ay bigla nitong inangkin ang labi niya sa nag-aapoy na halik. Angkin pa rin nito ang mga labi niya sa mariing halik. Habang inihahakbang siya sa pintuan ng kotse niya, and pressed her back against it. Nagpumiglas si Diane at malakas na itinulak ang dibdib ng lalaki palayo. Stop! Nagawa pa niya masabi iyon nang mag-angat ang lalaki ng ulo upang sumagap ng hangin. Oh yeah? He gazed down at her in passionate anger. Hindi pa ako tapos. And sealed their mouths together again. Gustuhin man niyang magpumiglas ay hindi niya magagawa. His right hand cupping the back of her head. Ang kaliwang kamay ay humigpit na nakayakap sa bewang niya, and his body was bracing against her softness. Her protests never had a chance as he pressed his body closer and tilted his hips forward, his leg nudging her thighs in wild longing. Nalulunod na si Diane sa sensasyon. Wala pang lalaki ang nagpadama sa kanya ng ganito. At wala pang lalaki ang basta-basta na lang siyang hinahalikan. Isang estranghero pa. Pero nang maramdaman niya ang kamay ng lalaki sa dibdib niya, ay mabilis siyang kumawala. Anong ginagawa mo sa akin? She said, stuttering while trying to grasp for air. He smiled down at her. The smile was a bit sarcastic and something more. Then he lowered his head again and flicked his tongue against the corner of her lips. Ang tamang tanong ay, kung ano ang ginagawa mo sa akin? Niyoko nito ang ibabang bahagi ng katawan kung saan obvious na obvious ang arousal nito. She blushed. Wala kang karapatang hagkan ako, Mr. Whoever you are, singhal niya dito. Wala ka rin karapatang sabihan ako ng disgusting word, Miss Whoever you are. Umisi ito at pagko'y binitawan siya. Tumalikod at nagtungo ng kotse. Bago sumakay ang lalaki ng tuluyan ay nagsalita ito. By the way, you have the sweetest lips I've ever tasted. Wala na ang kotse ng lalaki. Ay nakatayo pa rin doon si Diane. Di naman niya ang labi ng wala sa sarili. Nararamdaman pa rin niya hanggang sa sandaling iyon ang mga labi ng lalaki. Why did she allow herself to be kissed by that man? A stranger for that matter? And to top of all, sa kalsada pa, kahit mga gwapo ito, umiling siya. She didn't allow him, binigla siya at marahas na hinalikan. The hell with that man? Mabilis siyang sumakay ng kotse at pinaandar ito. Nasa isip pa rin ang lalaki nang makaalis. Chapter 4. Past. You're late again, Diane, singhal sa kanya ng manager niyang series. Mapagkakamalan itong modelo dahil sa ganda ng katawan at kagwapuhan. Pero mas pinili nitong maging manager kaysa maging modelo. 4 years ang tanda nito sa kanya. I'm really sorry, she said apologetically. Hindi na mauulit. Talagang hindi na mauulit. Naku naman, malalagot tayo sa baklang photographer na yun eh. Bumaba ang tinig nito. Hala, bilisan mo at magbihis ka na. Dumiretso na siya sa dressing room. Hinawakan niya ang doorknob upang pihitin iyon pabukas, ngunit binitawan din agad nang maramdamang may umiikot niyon mula sa loob ng silid. Oh, so you're late again, Diane, Antonio? Lizzie said sarcastically, then sneered. Nakagayak na ito, paalis. Lizzie D, her co-model, half Filipino and half American. Napakainit ng dugo nito sa kanya, sa hindi niya malamang dahilan. Unang pagkikita pa lamang ay ayaw na nito sa kanya. San ka galing? Oo nga pala, you're a first-class prostitute. Tinatakpan lang ng glamour ang kasikatan. Kaya nga naakit mo ang big boss. At naging supermodel ka, she taunted. Get out of the way, Lizzie. Mahinahong wika niya, ngunit ang mga mata ay kasing lamig ng yelo. Oh, napipikon ka na ba? Nanunuyang tanong nito at sumeryoso. Huwag kang abuso, Diane. Hindi porke Antonio ang apelyido mo, ganyan ka na kung umasta pagko'y umalis na ito. Pumasok na siya sa loob ng dressing room at tinignan ang sariling refleksyon sa salamin. No one knows about her real identity. Hindi alam ng mga ito na anak siya ng big boss. Why? Don't get her wrong, she loved her family. But working in VMC, she didn't want to be tied down with them. Hindi niya gustong isipin ng iba na kaya lamang siya. Naging isa sa mga sikat na modelo ay dahil anak siya ni Vincent. No, she didn't want that. She wanted everyone to know that it was all because of her own effort. She wanted everyone to treat her normally. And so, she signed a contract with her father with the condition that she wouldn't be affiliated with the Antonios. At kung may mag-imbestiga man, ay hindi ng mga ito malalaman as long as her father was helping her. Nagsimula siya bilang commercial model sa edad na 18. And when she turned 20 ay naging ramp model siya. Umabot ng 1 taon bago niya pirmahan ang kontrata sa BMC. She made a name on her own, relying only on her talent. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas ang pagiging modelo niya, kundi din sa ibang bansa. Hindi niya naisip noon na pwede siyang magmodel. She even thought that she was not beautiful and unattractive. But she was wrong. They said she had an arresting beauty, one that cannot easily categorize. Tinagurian pa nga siyang susunod sa yapak ng mga kilalang mukha sa fashion world. Naputol ang daloy ng kanyang iniisip nang may kumatok sa pinto. Miss Antonio, maaari na po ba kitang make-upan? Tanong ng tao sa kabilang pinto. Wait, give me 5 minutes. Sa nagmamadaling kilos ay nagbihis siya. She was about to get inside her car when her phone rang. Sinagot niya agad ito nang walang pag-aalinlangan nang makita kung sino ang tumatawag. Hello? Happy birthday to me, nakalimutan mo na? Tanong ng nasa kabilang linya. Of course not. Mika Tyler, she chuckled softly. Shem Milka Tyler, her co-model and her best friend. Nakilala niya ito noong ipinagtanggol siya sa kanilang ni Lizzie at Lay, Lizzie's manager. She had an exotic beauty, kaya nga hinangaan niya ito. Plus the fact na napakabait nito sa kanya at kahit kanino man. Hey, are you still there o naabdak ka na? Narinig mo ba ang sinasabi ko kanina? Tanong nito na marahil kanina pa nagsasalita. Aya, ano nga ulit iyon? Sabi na nga ba, you are spacing out. Anyway, ang sabi ko ba, bar tayo at blowout ko. And then she gave a gurgle of laughter. Baka naman may makakakitang paparazzi sa atin. Nag-aalalang tanong niya dito. Wala yan, paninigurado ni Shem sa kaibigan. The bar is very, very private. Hindi nila hinahayaang pumasok ang mga reporters and such. Okay, where? Her best friend gave the name of the bar before disconnecting the call. Sumakay na siya sa sasakyan at nagtungo sa bar na sinasabi ng kaibigan. I have been frequently waking in the middle of the night, as of recent, his father said. Umangat ang kanyang tingin at nagtatakang tumingin dito. Nagpatuloy ito sa sinasabi. Minsan napapaisip ako. Hindi ka ba nalulungkot, Rens? Tumaas ang kanyang kilay. You lodge alone for the night in your bedroom, and there is always sense that your bed is narrow. Nangunot ang kanyang noo. Are you trying to imply something that? Sandali itong hindi nagsalita. Pagkatapos ay tumango. I want to put you in an arranged marriage. What? He exclaimed, looking at his father as if he had grown to heads. He almost blurted out, Are you insane in that instant? No way. We are not talking about this. Yes, we are talking about this. I'm out. He stood on his feet and went to the study's door. Rens anak. Give her a chance. This woman would be suitable for you. Bakit ba pinipilit ninyo akong mag-asawa? Galit na tanong niya sa ama. Rens, nasa tamang edad ka na upang mag-asawa at pamahalaan ang kumpanya. Why me? Bumaba ang tinig niya. Kapag binubuo ng papa niya ang pangalan nila, ay seryosong-seryoso ito. Bakit ikaw? At hindi ang kapatid mo? Huminga ito ng malalim bago nagsalita. Masyado pang bata si Ems. Ang tinutukoy nito ay ang nag-iisang kapatid na babae niyang si Emmy Kim. Dahil hindi mo siya gusto. Gusto sana niyang isatinig iyon ngunit pinigilan ang sarili. His father and Ems were not in good terms. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng obligasyon ko sa kumpanya sa pag-aasawa ko? At bakit ikaw kailangan ang mamili ng mapapangasawa ko? I'm sorry, Iho, but my decision is final. Maaari kang mamili ng mapapangasawa mo. Pero kapag hindi ka mag-aasawa ay alam mo na ang mangyayari. May babala sa tinig nito. Nagmamadaling lumabas ng kabahayan si Rens. Hindi ito ang unang beses na nagtalo sila ng kanyang ama. Pero ito ang unang beses na ipilit nitong mag-asawa na siya para sa ikaliligaya ng kumpanya. But he refused. Masaya na siyang pinaliligaya siya ng mga babae sa ilalim niya. But his father would disinherit him kung hindi siya mag-aasawa. Which was fucking ridiculous. dahil matanda na siya at hindi dapat nakikialam pa ang ama. Isipin pang wala na sila sa sinaunang panahon upang mag-isip ng ganoon. Binuksan niya ang sports car by remote. Sumakay siya at pinaarangkada papaalis sa lugar na yon. Naalala niya ang pinagtalunan nilang dalawa kanina habang nagmamaneho. Dumiretso sa bar counter si Rens at umorder ng alak. Umupo siya sa stool bar. Inisang lagok niya ang alak sa kopita. Nang maubos iyon ay saka siya nagsaling muli ng alak sa kupita. Isang maharot na awitin ang pumailan lang sa bar na iyon. Inikot niya ang paningin at mula sa peripheral vision ay nakita niya ang pagtayo ng isang pamilyar na bulto patungong dance floor. And it was obvious that she was already drunk. Nakalugay ang tweed at mahaba nitong buhok. She was so beautiful, the exotic kind. She was taller than most girls. Must be 5'8" or something. Must be a model. Idagdag pa ang boots na suot nito. He watched her as she walked to the dance floor. For a tall woman like her, she was graceful as she danced to the music, hips swaying seductively, and her legs swung sinuously, erotically. Moving with graceful steps, her arms wove above her head. Rens at that moment bet that every male who watched her felt something move beneath their pants. At kasama na siya doon. Napalunok siya at inayos ang pantalon na suot. May lumapit ditong lalaki at nakipagsayaw. Hindi alintana kung saang kumahawak ang lalaki. He clenched his fist. Bakit parang umaahon ang protective instinct niya sa babaeng ito? But then, if it was his sister ay maiinis din siya. Tumayo siya sa pagkakaupo at nilapitan ang mga ito. Hinatlit niya ang babae. Hey, fuck off, she's my fiancé. Ang mga mata niya ay nagbabadya ng panganib at bago pa makaprotesta ang kung sino man, ay hinila niya ito palabas ng bar at tumungo sa sports car niya. What the heck are you doing? Angil nito sa malagihay na tinig. Pilit nitong kumakawala sa kanya. But it was to no avail as the woman was already drunk and couldn't even walk properly. Humarap siya dito. He was stunned. Kaya pala ito pamilyar. Ay ito pala ang babaeng muntik na niyang mabunggo kanina sa intersection at hinalikan niya. Hindi niya alam kung bakit niya ito hinalikan. It was just that he had this urge to kiss those last full mouth. And an overwhelming thought was in his head, ordering him to kiss her because it was the right moment. He couldn't help it. The desire was too strong. But she really indeed looked familiar. Well, pumalatak ito. So it's you, the loud-mouthed Neanderthal. Ngunit parang dinala lang ng hangin ang sinabi nito sa pandinig niya. Isang iling ang ginawa niya. Okay, I just help you. Ikaw na nga itong tinulungan, ikaw pa ang galit. Huwag kang tutulong-tulong. Kung kontra gusto naman, napakapakialamero. He muttered an expletives more to himself. Hindi niya alam kung matatawa ba o maiinis sa babae. I am sorry sa nangyari kanina, but I am not sorry for kissing you. Rens smiled, a devilish smile that her heart made a somersault. Ang manyak mo, singhal nito sa malagihay na tono. Naningkit ang mga mata niya. Wala pang tao ang nagsabing manyak siya. And a lady for that matter. Napakatalas talaga ng dila nito. You despicable son of a... She was stopped in mid-sentence when he pulled her closer against his body. I have a better way to make your mouth shut. He bent his head and kissed her. Nalalasahan niya ang alak na nainom nito. Malakas itong napasinghap. Marahas itong nagpumiglas. Ni hindi nito mailabas ang tinik sa sariling mga labi na angkin niya. Don't fight, he murmured against her lips. His hand on her spine were numbing her senses. The slow and deliberate manner in which he was kissing her was torment. She wanted to be passive and Rens knew it, but some unknown reason, he found the woman kissing him back. This time ay naging mapusok at mapang-angkin ang halik niya. Ipinasok niya ito sa loob ng sports car at ipinahiga sa leatherette na upuan. She parted her lips to him. Dahil imbes na itulak nito siya, ay kusang ipinaloob ng dalaga ang mga kamay sa loob ng sports shirt niya. She moaned when Ren's mouth came down to her neck, giving her a loud bite. She cupped his face at kinabig siya nito at siniil ng halik. And when he nipped her mouth, ay hindi ito kumilos. Nang tignan niya ay tulog na ito. Damn, hindi niya alam kung maaaliw siya o maiinis sa pangyayari. Wala pang babae ang tinulugan siya. Sa panahon ng lovemakings niya, pinaupo niya ito at ipinahilig sa sandalan. Tinitigan niya ito saglit. Walang ano-ano ay umangat ang kanyang kamay at unconsciously na hinaplos ito sa pisngi. Nagulat pa siya sa ginawa at saglit na napatigil. Pagway isang buntong hininga ang pinakawalan ng lalaki at dumiretso sa driver's seat. Damn the she-devil. Chapter 5. Diane woke with a start. Sa ilang sandali ay iniisip niya kung nasaan siya. Disoriented, she looked around the unfamiliar surroundings. She wasn't in her room in her condominium, nor in his father's mansion. Nasa isang hindi pamilyar na lugar siya. Inikot niya ang tingin sa loob ng silid, halata namang pangmayaman. Doble ang laki ng silid sa silid niya sa kondo niya. Naka-wallpapered ang mga dingding. Kulay pale blue pa. Kompleto rin ang interior nito sa loob. May couch, may personal ref, TV at may minibar. Slowly, she sat up. Napaungol siya nang maramdaman ang sakit ng ulo. Staggering off the bed, she stumbled on the floor and looked down. Malakas ang kanyang pagsinghap nang makita ang suot. Nakasuot siya ng oversized t-shirt, panglalaki pa. Wala siyang alam kung ano ang nangyari kagabi dahil madali siyang makalimot kapag nalalasing. Pinagsisihan tuloy niya kung bakit siya uminom. Dahil kapag nakakainom pa man din siya ng marami, ay kung ano-ano ang ginagawa niya. Katulad na lang ng dati. She wasn't even aware na nahalikan niya noon si James. Sinabi lang sa kanya ng binata nang mahimasmasan siya. My God, nakuha na ba ang virginity niya? She felt like crying and went back to her dad. Agad niyang naramdaman na parang hinahalukay ang kanyang sigmura. Mabilis siyang tumayo at tumungo sa nakitang pinto na panigurado niyang banyo iyon. Hindi pa siya nakakarating sa banyo ay may lumabas na lalaki roon at bahagya ring nagulat nang makita siya. Naudlot ang balak niyang pagsuka at nanlalaki ang mga matang tinitigan ito. Mukhang nawala rin ang pagkahilo niya at ni isang salita ay walang namutawi sa kanyang bibig. Nakatayo si Rens sa may bungad ng pinto ng banyo. As naked as the day he was born, water dripping all over his beautiful body, from his muscled chest down to his huge anatomy. Her lips parted in surprise as her eyes moved downward. God, he was an epitome of a male perfection. Umisi ang lalaki nang makabawi sa pagkamangha. Humakbang ito patungo sa couch at kinuha ang tuwalya na nakasabit doon, taking his time to wrap the towel around his naked body. Good morning, princess. What? She tried to find the right words to say but found none. Oh, anger and admiration ay sama-samang nararamdaman niya habang nakatitig dito. And weakness dahil may palagay siyang nanlalambot ang kanyang mga binti. Because no man could be this so attractive. Hindi ba ito ang lalaki sa intersection? The loud-mouthed Neanderthal and pervert person? The guy must be her stalker at marahil ay kung ano-ano ang ginawa nito habang siya ay lasing. Lumapit ito sa kanya. Hindi niya magawang umatras. Tila nawalan ng lakas ang kanyang mga binti. Last night was the best night that happened. He whispered in a husky voice, sending shivers down to her spine. Buong mali siyang hinagod siya nito ng tingin, mula ulo hanggang paa. She gasped when he carries her face. Para siyang itinapon sa isang lugar na puro may mga live wires. Ramdam na ramdam niya ang sexual tension sa kanilang dalawa at marahil ay ito rin. At hindi niya maikakaila iyon. Bumaba ang paningin nito sa kanyang mga labi, and she saw how his Adam's apple moved. Unti-unti nitong inilalapit ang mukha sa mukha niya. Napapikit siya, ang hininga nito ay kanya ng hiniga. Ngunit napaigtad siya nang tumunog ang telepono. Mabilis itong lumayo sa kanya at tinungo ang telepono. He muttered a series of expletives before answering the calls. Hello? Galit nitong bungad sa kausap. Ngunit nakatingin ito sa kanya. Umiwas siya ng tingin. Natuon ang pansin niya sa pinto Napapalabas ng silid na iyon. Walang ano-ano'y mabilis ang pagtakbo niya. But before she could open the door, Rens was already behind her, holding her hand. Ramdam niya ang init ng katawan nito mula sa kanyang likuran. Humarap siya dito at muntik nang mabunggo ang ulo niya sa ulo nitong nakatunghay sa kanya. Isinandal nito ang isang kamay sa pinto at ang isa naman ay itinaas ang baba niya. Let me go. Hindi niya alam kung lumabas iyon sa mga labi niya. Come on. Pagkatapos kagabi ay ayaw mo pa rin? His voice was mocking. Itinaas niya ang dalawang kamay sa dibdib nito upang itulak. Ngunit sa pagdaiti ng kanyang kamay ay hindi niya magawa. At bago pa niya maisip ang gustong gawin nito, ay bumaba na ang labi ng binata sa mga labi niya. She gasped in her throat. Her lips parted in surprise. Rens took advantage of it and planted his tongue inside the sweetness of her mouth. Her blood swirling dizzily in her brain. The sensuality of it left her helpless. Someone knocked at the other side of the door. Sapat upang iwan ng binata ang mga labi niya. She stared at him, confused, and lust were evident in her eyes. Bumaba taas ang dibdib sa paghabol ng hininga. Namamangha sa impact ng halik na iyon. Sir, ito na po ang damit na pinalaundry nyo. Sabi ng tao sa kabilang pinto, husto upang magbalik ang kanyang wisyo. Mabilis niyang tinulak si Rens. Binuksan nito ang pinto at ibinigay ng isang babae na marahil ay katulong ang damit niya. Salamat, wika ng lalaki sa katulong. At mabilis na isinrado ang pinto. Iniabot nito sa kanyang damit niya na bagong laba. Mabilis nang kinuha iyon at sa nauutal na boses ay nagtanong. Seriously, may nangyari ba? She blushed. He softly chuckled. Wala. Tumalikod na ito. Kumuha ng damit sa closet at isinuot. Walang pakialam kahit na humulogpos ang tuwalyang nakapulupot dito. Tumalikod siya. Bakit ka nahihiyang makita ang kahugdan ko? Ni hindi nga ako nahihiyang ipakita ang katawan ko. Amyos nitong wika habang isinusuot ang pantalon. You should have a bit of decency, galit niyang sagot na nakatalikod pa rin. Nagkibit lamang ito ng balikat. Dapat nga ay matuwa ka pa dahil ikaw pa lang ang babaeng nadala ko sa kwarto ko. At nakita ang hubad kong katawan nang hindi pa nakikipag-sex. Tsaka bakit ako mahihiyang ipakita ang hubad kong katawan? Nakita mo na naman, hindi ka nga tumalikod agad kanina. I was shocked. Depensa ni Diane at humarap dito. Malay ko bang may hubad na lalaki ang lalabas sa banyo? Okay, so let's not argue. Itinaas ni Rens ang dalawang kamay na parang sumusuko. He chuckled a bit and then said, I take no offense. Isinuot na nito ang sports shirt pagkatapos. Oh, by the way, I'm Rens. Rens Delgado. Hinihintay kita sa ibaba. Hihintayin kita sa ibaba and let's have lunch together. At lumabas na ito ng kwarto pero bumalik ulit. What's your name? Diane, iyon lang ang sinagot niya at isinarado na muli nito ang pinto. She sighed. Delgado? Kung kilala ang mga Antonio at Santiago, ay kilala rin ang Delgado. No wonder the man was like a prince or a king when looking down or talking to other people. Para bang may ere ito na nakakaangat. Chapter 6. Lawrence Delgado was busy running on a treadmill. Kanina pa siya doon sa gym na nasa loob ng bahay niya. Yes, his house. Siya ang nagpagawa nito. Sariling dugo at pawis ang pinuhunan niya. Matapos ang pagtakbo ay kinuha niya ang tuwalyang nakasampay sa silya at pinunasan ang pawis ang katawan. He picked up the remote control and turned on the television. Palipat-lipat lamang siya ng istasyon ng isang balita ang nakapukaw sa kanyang atensyon. Please welcome our guest for today, Diane Antonio with her manager, Riz Alcaraz. And Lizzie D with her manager, Lace Scott. Dumabas ang mga sinasabing panauhin at nagpalakpakan ang mga tao. Ang mga mata niya ay nakatuon sa screen ng TV kung saan nakafocus ang kamera pagdating ng mga sinasabing modelo at kasama ang mga manager ng mga ito. Kaya pala pamilyar ang mukha at pangalan ng Diane Antonio na dinala niya sa bahay ay dahil isa itong sikat na modelo. Ang mahabang buhok nito ay nakatali sa likod. Nakasuot ito ng long sleeve na blusang puti na nakarolyo hanggang sa siko at blue jeans. Simple but beautiful. Then something flashed back in his mind. Banayad na isinara ni Rens ang pinto. Inaasahang gising na ang panauhin sapagkat pasado alas 11 na ng umaga. Subalit tulog pa rin ito. Nakadaba ito sa kama niya at suot ang t-shirt niyang umabot lamang hanggang sa balakang nito. Damn, it looked good and sexy on her. Her breasts were firm and small. She had narrow waist. His eyes moved down to her long legs, long and slim, with tiny delicate ankles. He took a deep breath harshly. The woman was sexy as in. Niwala siyang itinulog ng nagdaang gabi sa kakaisip na may babae sa mismong kama niya. Nakita na niya ang katawan nito, ngunit ang tanging kulang na lang ay ang maangkin niya ito. Rens had never felt anything this intense since he was a teenager. So intense that he had to take a cold bath in the middle of the night. Gumalaw ito sa paggalaw na iyon ay naililis ang ibabang bahagi ng kanyang t-shirt at nahantad ang dapat hindi mahantad. He muttered an expletives. Bigla ang reaksyon ng katawan niya. Pumasok siya ng banyo upang maligo at nang matapos ay lumabas siya. Nakita niyang gising na ito, her hair disheveled. He looked at her as if he wanted to devour her. She shouldn't look good and attractive early in the morning. And yet, she was so damn gorgeous at that moment. Nabaliwala ang cold shower na isinagawa niya dahil muli ang paggapang ng kakaibang sensasyon sa katawan niya. She looked shocked when she stared at him. Uncaringly of his nudity, he walked to the chair, picked up the towel, and taking his time in rubbing it on his waist. And the rest was history. Without her makeup on, she shouldn't look so pretty, katulad ng ibang mga modelo. But he was wrong. Naputol ng isang katok sa pinto ang daloy ng kanyang isip at iniluwa doon ang isang katulong. Anong kailangan mo, Isay? Maotoridad na tanong niya dito. Sumagot ito. Nasa library po ang Don Roberto, senyorito. Sabihin mong susunod na ako. Tinanguan niya ito at lumabas na ang katulong. Pagkatapos niya mag-shower at mag-ayos, ay dumiretso siya sa library upang makausap ang abuelo. You've been messing with your father, Rens? Salubong ng kanyang lolo. Nakaupo ito sa swivel chair. Umupo siya sa sofa. Grandpa, he posed. Napakamot sa ulo at tinignan ang matandang abuelo. Dad wants me to marry someone so that I can now fully manage the company. Pakiramdam niya ay isa siyang batang lalaki na nagsusumbong sa matandang abuelo. Why won't you? Tanong nito sa kanya. He sighed, nagkibit ng balikat. You want to fall in love first? Is that it? Dagdag pa nito. Natawa siya ng kaunti. Oh, I have been in love many times. I love what's in between those women's thighs. Both men laugh, but his grandpa's laugh died first. And then he said softly, you need to marry someone to take care of our company, our legacy. At para mabigyan mo na rin ako ng apo, bago man ako mamatay, iho. Napainling na lang ang binata sa sinabi ng matanda. Don't worry, Lo. I'll take care of everything. I know you will, nakangiting saad nito. Matapos ang interview nila Diane, ay nagtungo sila sa isang hotel upang mag-check-in at doon muna magpahinga. Modeling was like this. They would go from place to place to shoot and then rent a hotel room to take a rest or spend the night in there. Then continued shooting the next day. It was hectic but she really liked it. Sumakay siya ng elevator, uncaring about whether anyone could recognize her. After all, the hotel was for wealthy people, and it wouldn't let paparazzis roam around here. Pero saglit siyang natigil nang ma-realize na may kasabay siya sa loob. A very familiar to that. The man was gorgeous and almost handsome, and overwhelmingly masculine. Not to mention he was rich. Mga katangian upang ang lahat ng babae ay mangunyapit sa paanan nito. Walang iba kundi si Rens Delgado. Tinaasan siya nito ng kilay nang magtagpo ang kanilang tingin. Isang nakakaaliw na ngiti ang pinakawalan nito. Ang mga mata ay puno ng pagnanasa habang nakatitig sa kanya. Siya ang unang umiwas ng tingin. "You desire me," Diane said blatantly. "I can see it in your eyes." "Oh," Rens feigned a surprised expression. "That's kinda stressing the obvious, Miss Diane Antonio," he said dryly, emphasizing her name. And then she recognized the feeling of lust, inappropriate though it was considering the circumstances. Naroroon na siguro iyon sa pagitan nila, marahil ng unang araw pa lang na magtagpo sila. Was there such a thing as lust at first sight? Oh, she bet there was. Diane almost laughed at the thought. Bumukas ang elevator ngunit bago pa siya makalabas, ay hinawakan na siya nito at kinabig. Nagsara ang elevator at may pinindot ito na kung ano, upang tumigil pansamantala ang elevator. Binalingan siya ni Rens at hindi niya inaasahan ang gagawin nito. His one arm snaked around her waist and brought her upward to meet his mouth. At sa ikatlong pagkakataon, ay naramdaman na naman niya muli ang sensasyon na unti-unting kumakalat sa buo niyang pagkatao. Ni hindi niya makuhang kumilos. Kahit ang paghinga ay napigil sa dibdib niya. Nag-aalab ang mga labi nito. Her soft lips was throbbing, for he pressed them bruisingly back against her tightly clenched teeth. Her breast was traitorous, as they were responding to the heated pressure of his chest. Itinaas nito ang isang kamay sa batok niya, upang lalong maangkin ng buong buo ang mga labi niya. And his other hand moved down her buttocks, upang ipagdiinan lalo ang ibabang bahagi ng katawan nila. Diane gasped and it gave him an entry into her mouth. Nang haplusin naman nito ang dibdib niya, ay bumalik ang katinuan sa kanyang kaisipan. Marahas niyang pinakawalan ang mga labi mula sa pag-angkin nito. "What the fuck are you doing?" She gave a hissing whisper. Gumalaw ng muli ang elevator. His smile was lopsided. Umangat ang kamay at hinawakan ang baba niya. Yumuko at hinagkan siyang muli, giving her lips a sweet suction before releasing them. The moment he let go of her lips, the elevator doors opened. "Your lips is sweeter than I thought," wika nito bago lumabas. Diane was left dumbfounded, unsure of what to do and what to feel. She couldn't allow the intimacy that was happening between them, but Rens beside her, and she was too, and what they had for each other was too strong to ignore. Last. Chapter 7. "Have you finished the investigation?" Rens asked his friend. Joshua as he stepped into his office. Tumingin siya dito, his hand lifting to rub the back of his neck. He was doing it a lot lately, pressured by the company. "Dan," sagot nito at ibinigay sa kanya ang folder na hawak. Kinuha niya ito at nagtungo sa kanyang desk. Tinitigan niya ang folder, quirking his brow and debating if he was going to read the reports. "Why don't you open the file?" Tanong ng kaibigan sa kanya nagtataka. "Damn," he breathed out in resignation. Picked up the folder and opened it. Within seconds, his brow lifted and his gaze moved back to Joshua. Nagkibit balikat ang kaibigan. "I'm surprised too. They are really good at hiding it." Nangunot ang kanyang noo. "So how did you manage to acquire these informations?" Muli itong nagkibit balikat, a smug smile on his face. "You know me." Tumango siya. "Yeah, the man was very good at his job and abilities. No doubt about that. Now, this was interesting." Rens rubbed his jaw as she continued to read. The reports. "So anong gagawin mo?" Ukaw nito sa kanya. Ibinagayway niya ang kamay. "All I need is to ask her." Tumaas ang kilay nito. "And?" and blackmail her. If things didn't go according to his plan, he would be dumped if he didn't have her. I mean, who wouldn't want her? Rens knew for himself that he wanted that woman. Theoretically speaking, they didn't have anything in common, and yet, one this was for sure. They desired each other. Umangat lang ang gilid ng labi niya bilang sagot sa tanong ng kaibigan. Kung sagot nga bang matatawag iyon? Ayaw niyang sabihin ang nasa isip, kung gaano siya nahuhumaling kay Diane Antonio. Tinanggal ni Diane ang tuwalya na nakalagay sa buhok. Kinuha ang brush sa dresser at nagsimulang magsuklay. Napakurap siya nang makarinig ng katok sa pinto. Nagtataka. 10 oras na ng gabi at paniguradong hindi ang manager niya ang mangangatok sa kalagitnaan ng gabi. The woman stood on her feet and went to the front door. She tried to look at the people and yet couldn't find anyone at all. She tilted her head to the side. Bahagya niyang binuksan ang pinto at tumingin sa kaliwang bahagi ng hallway. Nang walang makita ay saka tumingin sa kanan. Pero ang akmang pagtingin ay naudlot nang biglang may tumakip sa bibig niya. Are you scared? Nakakalokong bulong ng boses ng isang lalaki sa tenga niya. His voice was low and deep, masculine, and she knew that voice. She knew that man. Muling kumalabog ang dibdib niya, ngunit sa pagkakataong ito ay sa ibang kadahilanan. Tinanggal nito ang pagkakatakip sa bibig niya at natawa nang makita ang nanlalaki niyang mga mata. Her eyes jerked at him angrily. Damn you, she outburst. Rens grinned at her, tuwang-tuwa pa ito sa reaksyon niya. Papatayin mo ba ako sa takot? Galit niyang tanong. What the hell is wrong with you? And what the hell are you doing here? 10 oras na ng gabi. Huwag mong sabihin stalker talaga kita. Dahil kung hindi, paano nalaman ng lalaki ang hotel room niya? Not unless he stalked her. Tumaas ang dalawang kamay nito, surrendering himself, as if he was caught stealing a cookie in a jar. But the grin was still plastered on his face. I own the hotel, sweetheart, he drawled. Tinulak niya ito, distancing herself. That doesn't mean that you have to knock on my door and pretending to scare the shit out of me, you pervert. Ganyan ba ginagawa mo sa mga guests niyo dito? But Rens said nothing. He was too busy staring at her breasts beneath her nightgown. Namula ang kanyang pisngi. Nakalimutan niyang naka-nightgown lamang siya. She should have wear something like a shirt and a pair of pants. She shook her head mentally. Baliw na ba siya? Sinong matutulog ng nakapantalon? She cleared her throat. Rens looked back at her, maintaining the amusement expression despite the fact that he was caught leering at her breasts. Are you that bored? She asked and lied through her gritted teeth. It makes me uncomfortable. Why? Tanong ng binata. His dark chocolate brown eyes twinkled as if he knows that she was lying. She was not fond of chocolates, but she had to admit it. The man could make her like it. Nagulat siya. Why? Ulit niya. Perhaps you and I know that it's not out of interest, but merely attempt to amuse yourself. Besides, women don't like their breasts leered at, and you didn't even answer my question of what are you doing here? He ignored the last question and shrugged his shoulder. The fact that I found your breast interesting shouldn't be an issue. She was flustered. How would you like it if all I did was ogle your crotch? Diane snapped. It's uncomfortable and insulting. Ogle to your heart's content, princess. Inilahad pa nito ang dalawang kamay. Bigla siyang napatingin sa bandang ibaba nito. Her eyes widened and jerked back to him. It is a normal reaction when a man finds a woman very attractive. Napakunot ang noo ng lalaki sa displeasure. Napakunot ang noo ng lalaki sa displeasure na nakita sa kanya. Mas gusto mo bang wala akong reaksyon at all? Yes, she hissed. I don't need a man. Well, congratulations, princess. Neither do I need a man. He said mockingly. At bago pa siya makapagsalita, ay dinagtungan nito ang sinabi. I have business proposal to you. Nangunot ang kanyang noo. What is it? Sumeryoso ito. Nawala ang playful na Rens at napalitan ng seryoso. Let me in and I'll tell you. Tinaasan niya ito ng kilay. Baliw siya kung papapasukin niya ang lalaki sa kwarto niya. Isa pa, alam niyang may kakaibang namamagitan sa kanilang dalawa. Unresolved sexual tension, ika nga. Kung papapasukin niya ito ay baka sa iba humantong ang kanilang usapan. Imbes na papasukin ay humalukip-kip siya at ginantihan ito ng seryosong tingin. Hindi nagpapatinag sa harap ng pintuan. Looking at her stance, Rens chuckled a little and then said something that she didn't quite catch. Marry me. Pardon? Tanong niya. Hindi pumasok sa utak ang sinabi ng lalaki. I said marry me. Ulit nito. Ninamnam niya ang sinabi nito. Tila ba hipnotismo ang mga katagang binatawan nito. And then, what in the bloody hell? Tss. And there it was again. The amusement came back. You have a bad mouth, baby. I could put that to use. There was a hint of suggestion in his voice. Umiling siya. Her expression became livid. Nababaliw ka na ba? Tanggal na ba ang tornilyo sa utak mo? Do I even know you? All I know is you're a loud-mouthed Neanderthal and a pervert guy. Yes, you're Rens Delgado and that's just that. Hindi kita kilalang kilala? He smirked. Oh, but I know who you are. Miss Diane Jean Antonio. Naunot ang kanyang noon nang banggitin nito ang buo niyang pangalan. Sino nga ang iyong ama? Something like Vince Antonio? As the words penetrated her mind, she stiffened and stood there frozen. Diane Antonio straightened and said the words as cold as ice. Goodbye. Umiling si Rens. Nope. Hindi ako aalis hanggat hindi ka pumapayag sa business proposal ko. Hindi ko alam ang pinagsasasabi mo, she lied. The in denial tone was in her voice. The woman tried to close the door of her room, but the man quickly blocked it with his arm. Unable to get rid of him, Diane glared at Rens. He stared back at her glared expression. He wouldn't back down, damn it. The man was so stubborn as hell. Marry me, ulit nito. I need a wife, of course. There would be a prenuptial agreement. For your own benefits too. At kung umabot tayo ng 2 o 3 taon, ay maaari mo akong hiwalayan. Akala mo ba ganun lamang kadali ang mag-asawa? She asked in disbelief. Tumango ito, crossed his arm on his chest. Of course, I know it ain't easy. I never said it were anyway. And we lust after each other. So why deny it? Do you think lusting each other is all that matters? She asked him incredulously. There's more to life than just that. Let's be honest here. Bumuntong hini siya at tinitigan ito ng mabuti. There's not a chance for us to have a one-night stand or a fly-by-night affair. I don't need any of those. You believe in love and all that shit before you marry someone? Tumawa ito ng pagak. She crossed her arms, copying his stance. And what's wrong with that? I believe that marriage has to mean more not just sex. I have to feel more. Well, that's according to your point of view. You want love. Tumango ito, a frown on his forehead. But as for me, the foundation of a strong marriage is trust, not love. He drawled the last sentence mockingly. And baby, we love each other and I think that is stronger than love. Napailing siya. Look, this isn't a debate, it's my choice. I choose not to marry you, so don't harass me. Harass you? He gave a mirthless laugh. Yeah, by being a pervert? Pervert? He growled. That's not pervert, sweetheart. But I can do something with it if that's what you want. Napadiin ang mga labi niya. She couldn't seem to find the right words to say to him, to lash him with her tongue. Damn the man, this is insane. The hell it is, at walang pagkakataon para maiwasan ito. Ang mga braso nito humapit sa katawan niya, o ang mga labi nito na sinakop ang mga labi niya. His lips on her, his tongue licking her lips. He pushed it inside of her mouth. Umungol siya, Ang isang kamay nito ay napunta sa pang-upo niya at hinimas iyon. Ang mga kamay naman niya ay nasa mga balikat nito. He clung to his tongue. Not love. He drawled the last sentence mockingly. And baby, we lost each other and I think that is stronger than love. Napailing siya. Look, this isn't a debate. It's my choice. I choose not to marry you, so don't harass me. Harass you? He gave a mirthless laugh. Yeah, by being a pervert? Pervert? He growled. That's not pervert, sweetheart. But I can do something with it if that's what you want. Napadiin ang mga labi niya. She couldn't seem to find the right words to say to him. To lash him with her tongue. Damn the man, this is insane. The hell it is. At walang pagkakataon para maiwasan ito. Ang mga braso nitong humapit sa katawan niya o ang mga labi nito na sinakop ang mga labi niya. His lips on her, his tongue licking her lips. He pushed it inside of her mouth. Umungol siya. Ang isang kamay nito ay napunta sa pang-upo niya at hinimas iyon. Ang mga kamay naman niya ay nasa mga balikat nito. He clung to his tongue, touching it with hers. Twinning. She whimpered. Nadadala siya. That was all there was to it. His arousal was pressing against the juncture of her thigh. As fast as the kiss began, it abruptly finished too. He smirked. You'll marry me, princess. Or mas gugustuhin mong malaman nila ang tunay mong pagkatao. You wouldn't want that, right? Did people's head actually explode? Because at that moment, she was pretty certain hers was about to. She clenched her fist, controlling herself not to slap the arrogant man in front of her. She was not a violent woman, but this particular man bring out the worst in her. Nagbilang siya ng 1 hanggang 10 upang kalmahin ang sarili. Do I have a choice? She snapped. He tilted his chin. I don't take no for an answer. Asshole, she bet out. Guess she had no choice but to say yes and marry this bastard. Okay, she finally said, after several minutes. Tumango-tango ito. A smug smile on his face. And oh, she really wanted to scratch that face. We'll discuss everything tomorrow. Tumalikod na ito at nagsimulang maglakad. Hindi pa ito nakakalayo ay bigla itong humarap sa kanya. Pinasadaan siya ng tingin mula ulo hanggang paa. Will you stop looking at me like that? She flushed again. It was almost innocent. Tumaas ang kilay ni Rens. Like what? Na para bang hinuhubaran mo ako, wika niya. He grinned at her. What color is your underwear? Nanlaki ang mga mata ni Diane sa gulat. Her expression outrage. Napanganga pa siya sa gulat. Nang makarecover ay pagalit na sinabi. That is none of your business. Do I even ask you about your underwear? Sinulyapan nito ang suot na jeans at tumingin muli sa kanya. No underwear. Sorry. I don't have the habit of wearing those. Boxers ang sinusuot ko. Napatigil siya. Tumingin siya dito. Nakahalukip-kip ito at naghihintay marahil sa ere-react niya. This man was unbelievable. Too much info, she muttered. Well, he shrugged and grinned at her. Just in case you're wondering. Well, I wasn't, so stop wondering about mine. He tipped his head and turned in without another word or look. He sauntered away. Luke took a left turn, and she never saw him again. When closed the door, she sucked in breath, closed her eyes tight, and kept breathing deep until she felt her heart slow. Let's get it over with. Inis na wika ng dalaga kay Rens Delgado. Gulo-gulo pa ang buhok nito. Na para bang kakatapos lamang nito sa isang steamy sex and the woman didn't even bother to put a makeup on. But she was pale. Too pale. Her lush lips trembled. Tinitigan niya ulit ito at hindi maiwasang matawa dahil sa pangyayari kagabi. Pero pinigilan niya ang sarili. He turned to the papers on his desks and handed it to her. You just have to read the prenuptial agreement and then sign it. Those black eyes looked at him, then to the papers. Kinuha nito ang mga papeles at umapo. She crossed her legs, her head bent to the papers. At first he thought she was annoyed, but then she bit the side of her lower lip as if she was undecided about something. Rens was surprised. This woman can be cute and sexy at the same time. Pinagmamasdan niya itong gumawa ng desisyon. She released her lip. The tip of her tongue slid out to wet the upper one. And a thought came to his mind. Ano kayang pakiramdam ko ang dila nito ay naglalakbay sa katawan niya? Tumingin ang dalaga sa kanya. Dumaustos ang buhok nito sa likuran. Her graceful jaw jutting out. Her lips were slightly parted. She'd do, he thought to himself. It was now or never. His decision was made and he wouldn't waste any time. How much? Tanong niya dito na ikinagulat nito. I beg your pardon? He didn't make her wait long, and he didn't even sugarcoat it. I'd like to know how much more to fuck you. The minute he'd finished his query, with interest, he watched her jaw get tight, as did her entire body, and her obvious negative reaction surprised him, yet again. Damn you, she screeched. I'm not a prostitute. I'm sure you have read in the documents that this marriage ordeal, or whatsoever, includes you sleeping in the same bed with me. Paalala niya dito. Sleeping? She retorted. Her tone sharp, and he nearly laughed. Abruptly, he leaned toward her and asked, How much? Tinitigan siya nito ng masama. You're unbelievable. Rens found this interesting. This woman was really interesting. Magkano? Tanong niya ulit. She laughed. Her laughter was tinged with bitterness. I don't think so. Nagagalit na ito. At aminin man niya o hindi ay natutuwa siya sa mga kaganapan, lalong-lalo na sa reaksyon ng babae. 10 million. She made an indistinct, angry noise at the back of her throat. Siguro ay hindi ito magandang ideya. Bumuntong hininga siya at umupo ng maayos. Nanatiling nakamata sa dalaga ng ilang segundo bago nagsalita. Perhaps not. Akala niya ay mananatili ito sa kinauupuan, ngunit bigla itong tumayo. It was a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Delgado, she announced curtly, holding out the papers. She turned to leave. Perhaps you don't want them to know who you really are, Miss Antonio. Banta niya dito. He wanted her, simple as that, and he was going to have her. Her body jerked, then froze, and she hesitated, indicating to Rens indecision. Humarap ito sa kanya, naniningkit ang mga mata. Bastard! This deal should be a secret to you and me only. Ayokong malaman nilang nagpakasal ako. The first is okay, but the second one? Not a chance, princess. My family and your father needs to know. She let out a sigh. Okay, fine. Napahilamos ito sa mukha. Fine, let them know, but other than them, no one has to know. Let this be a secret. He smirked, knowing full well that he had won. You just have to play a good wife, and no one will suspect us. Itinuro niya ang mga papeles. Sign it, and that's it. Mag-asawa na tayo. You will live in my house. She muttered an unladylike oath, moved to the papers, and signed it. Rens was impressed. He thought she was very adorable. I like you, sabi niya dito. Well, I don't like you. The feeling is not mutual. She snapped back at him. Muli siyang napangiti, which made her eyes drop to his mouth. He ignored his body's reaction and declared, We're the husband and wife. Chapter 9. And what made you come here? Tanong ni James Navarez kay Diane. Diane smiled back at him. She missed this guy. Wala kasi ang kakambal niya. Nasa ibang bansa at naglalakwat siya. Kaya ka-close niyang binata. Nagtungo siya dito dahil may gusto siyang ibigay. I miss you, James. Ngumiti ito. Fondness was showing in his eyes. Binitiwan nito ang basket na pinaglalagyan ng mga inaning mangga at nilapitan siya. Tara sa loob, yaya nito at nagpatiunan na. Sumunod siya dito. Hey boy, where's my hug? Birong totoo niya sa binata. He looked back at her and smiled. Ang dumi ko. Umiling siya habang nangingiti. Nah, it's okay. I don't care. Tumigil ito at nang makarating siya sa tabi nito, ay inakbayan siya pagkuway ginulo ang buhok niya. She giggled. She was very fond of this man for as long as she could remember. Simula bata lamang kasi, ay magkasama na silang dalawa. Nagtungo na sila sa loob ng bahay nito. It was an up and down two-story house. Just a small and simple house but very comfy. Pinagtimplahan siya nito ng kape. So, ano ba talagang dahilan? At bakit nandito ka? I thought you're busy. Umupo ito sa upuan na katapat niya. She shrugged her shoulder and sipped the cup of coffee. Pagkatapos ay kinalkal niya ang bag at inabot dito ang tseke. Tinitigan nito iyon bago inabot. Para saan? Ang pagkalito ay nasa mata ng lalaki. Hindi ba ay nakasangla ang iyong bukid? Tumango ito bilang sagot. I'm lending you the money, but... Pinigilan niya ang sasabihin nito. Please James. Tulong ko yan sa'yo. Please take it. Pagsusumamo niya. Maaari mo akong bayaran kapag nakasenso ka na. Holding her breath, she watched James make a decision. Kitang-kita sa mga mata nito ang pagdadalawang isip. James, I earned that money, but I don't know how to spend it, so please? Pagmamakaawa niya, na siya namang tinanggap ng lalaki. Doon siya nakahinga ng maluwag. Salamat Diane, malungkot nitong wika. Umiling siya. I know it's not enough para matubos mo ang farm ng mama at papa mo, pero alam kong mahal mo ang farm niyo. Dito ka na lumaki James. He smiled sadly at her. I owe you a lot. Ano ka ba? Basta ba'y magkatuluyan kayo nila Jeremy ay magiging masaya na ako, biro niya. Diane was actually rooting for him and for her twin sister to be together even though she had a crush on him. Although the two weren't even close just like them, she felt like her twin sisters would fit together with the man. Matagal na niyang binibiro ito tungkol doon at ang tanging sagot lamang nito ay ang bahagyang pagtawa. Sumimsim siya ng kape bago nagsalitang muli. Changing the topic. Does the name Rens Delgado ring any bell? Gusto lamang niyang makukuha ng impormasyon patungkol dito. She spent hours tossing and turning, thinking about the guy she had married. Dahil ni wala siyang kaalam-alam dito, samantalang ang binata ay maraming alam sa pagkatao niya. Hindi na siya nagtaka doon, maaaring pinaimbestigahan siya nito. She shrugged her shoulder. Rens was rich, no doubt about that. He could do anything he wants. James' brows furrowed. Lawrence Delgado? Lawrence what? Hindi makapaniwalang bulalas niya. Tumango ito, ngunit ang pagkasalubong ng kilay ay naroon pa rin. Is that even a name? What a name? Hindi ba yung pangalan noong pusa? Sa Tom and Jerry? They burst out laughing. Hinampas-hampas pa niya ang lamesa dahil sa kakatawa. Unang sumeryoso si James at tumingin sa likuran niya. And she felt him. She felt the heat at her back. She felt his stares. Nagtayuan ang mga buhok sa batok niya. Napatigil siya sa pagtawa. It's the dog, sweetheart, bulong nito sa tenga niya. His breath fanning her ears. She felt those shivers run down her spine. She looked back at him. Hey Rens, she greeted, trying to sound friendly and pretty pleased with the effort. He looked at her, wearing his aviator glasses. F that hey, he replied, his voice a little rumbly, in way she didn't like, or does she? He was not in the mood in a good morning. You sleep okay? Tanong niya dito. Keeping her eyes from not rolling and congratulating herself for it. At that point, Rens was done. Without taking off his glasses, tinuro nito si Diane at ang sarili habang sinasabi, You and I will talk. No, she answered. What? I said no. 1 second, he was 5 centimeters away from her. And the next second, she was hauled off the chair, and they were striding out of the house. And what the hell are you doing? She hissed while struggling to free herself, but it was to no avail. We'll talk or I will haul your ass off here. Obviously, the man wasn't in a good mood. Damn you, she snapped. Ano bang ginagawa mo ngayon? Dire-diretso lamang ito hanggang sa maisakay siya sa sasakyan. Tinitigan nito si James. This is my problem, cousin, sabi nito. What did I just say yesterday? Rens returned. Sumakay ito sa driver's seat. His shades locked to her. Bago pinaandar ang sasakyan. You will stay with me. Humalukip-kip siya. Damn this man. He really bring out the worst in her. Too late, I already had a macho man in front of me, where I'm sleeping tonight and every night. She watched his entire body get tight. It seemed like the very air around him turned a warning shade of red, and it took a lot, but she just managed not to squirm at her seat. "And that would be?" he asked in a scary, quiet voice. "My dad," Diane answered in a snotty voice. "I believe you know that I don't have a boyfriend, or something before you married me." His body relaxed, as did his face, and his mouth grinned. "Yeah. So, how did you find me?" he smirked. "Did you really even ask that stupid question?" Serious to God, she couldn't believe this man. Pagkarating sa hotel ay nauna itong bumaba. She hopped off the car and ran to her hotel room. Nagmumukha tuloy siyang childish, ngunit sumunod ang asawa sa kanya at pinagkakatok ang pintuan ng hotel room niya. "Diane, you're crazy. Open the door or get your ass out of here." "Keep your voice down. Ano bang problema mo?" she snapped. "Open the door or I will shout para marinig nilang lahat." Banta nito sa kanya. She shoved out the door, forcing her back and closed it behind her, hissing. "Seriously, Rens, shut up and go. There's nothing to talk about." "You shut up," he shut back. "Don't be smart. We need to talk." She sighed heavily. Naiirita na talaga siya. "Alright, I know you have selective hearing and blackout intersections of what I say, but really, pay attention. Wala na tayong dapat pang pag-usapan. Oo, kasal tayo, pero iyon lang yun. I don't know what went down in that huddle, but clearly, you won. And if that makes you think you can waltz over here and boss me around, then you are very, very way wrong. Not only because I'm not your thing, but also because I do not like to be bossed around. And honest to God, you're pissing me off and this conversation is over." She barely got the word over when Rens yanked off his shades, then yanked her off and opened the door, then closed it. Nagulat siya kaya hindi agad nakakilos. She was frozen stiff, so he was able to execute his next maneuver without resistance. Therefore, she found her body flat against the wall. One of his arms was tight around her. The other hand was cupping the back of her head. He tilted it, and his mouth slammed down on her. This was a problem. He was an excellent kisser. Yes, he was that good. And she liked it. A lot. Therefore, when he finally lifted his head, she had one arm tight around his back and one hand curled on the side of his neck, both in order just to hold on. Iyon lang ang nakaya niyang gawin, ang kumapit dito. "I don't like you," she said, still catching her breath. "Strip." Iyon naman ang sinagot nito. Just one word. Chapter 10. Nakatayo lamang sila, ngunit sa sumunod na minuto, ay naramdaman na lamang niyang nakaluhod na siya sa carpet at nakabent ang katawan sa sofa. Nanlaki ang mga mata ni Diane. Napakabilis ng pangyayari, ni hindi siya nakahuma. Ano sa tingin mo ang ginagawa mo?" she hissed, scandalized. "Pull your skirt up," he hissed at her ear. "I will not," napasinghap siya nang maramdaman ang pagkalalaki nito sa likuran niya. Ang mga mata ay napadpad sa brasong nasa gilid na nagkukulong sa kanya. Oh hell! Napalunok siya. This was not good. She could feel the need to back into him, to roll her hips against his straining erection, and feel the fierce throb of hunger in it. Gagawin mo o ako ang gagawa? Kapag ginawa ko yun, I may not let go until we're fucking blue. Now, pull that fucking skirt up. Nanginig siya. Hindi dahil sa takot, kundi sa ibang dahilan. Nakatukod ang mga siko niya sa upuan ng sofa. She was in one of the most vulnerable position that a woman could know. At gusto pa nitong palalain? "Rens, now!" Ang hininga nitong malapit sa tenga niya ay mabigat, punong-puno ng pagnanasa. Diane fought back the shiver building in her spine, and the uncontrollable impulse to do as Rens recommended. "Rens," pinutol nito ang protesta niya. "Gagawin mo ba?" His teeth nipping at her ear. "Or I'll do it then. I'll have you till we're blue." Oh God. She laid against the sofa, feeling him shift as her hands moved to the sides of her skirt. Gagawin niya ba talaga to? Slowly she lifted her skirt, baring her thighs, the naked curves of her ass, and they were naked. The thong she wore did very little to hide the rounded globes of her ass. Yeah, he whispered, as his lips suddenly smoothed over her neck. Yeah, let me feel your ass, sweetheart. I love your ass. So sweet, so nice. Diane panted in response, eagerly pulling her skirt higher now. He was as hard and hot as newly forged iron through the material of his clothes, and it was turning her on. She was wet. She could feel it dampening her underwear. The skirt were now bunched on her waist when his hips slammed against her. Wala sa sariling sinunod niya ang mga utos nito. Paisa-isa niyang tinanggal ang botones ng kanyang blusa. Yes, that's it. Show me. Show me all of it, Diane. Umuungol ito at pinapanood ang ginagawa niya. His breathing was hard, rough, small puff of air striking her suddenly. Sweat dampened neck. Let me see your whole body. I want to look. Let me look. Diane couldn't even believe what she was doing. It was so erotic that she felt she was melting. Her fingers moved to the front clasp, releasing it slowly as shards of sensation raced through her system. When the material slackened, she drew the cups free of her breasts. How pretty, he breathed. Rens, bulong niya. We should stop this. This is too dangerous. Fuck, he snarled. In a flash, he tore her panties. Her hips jerked violently. Napakagatlabi siya. Pinigilang mapaungol dahil sa tingin niya ay malapit na siyang mawala sa katinuan sa pinaggagawan nito sa kanya. And in another flash, he drove inside. Feeling her, napasigaw siya. There was pain from stretching to accommodate him, in pleasure because he was huge. Tumigil si Rens at isang malutong na murang pinakawalan. What the fuck? You're still virgin? Hindi makapaniwalang bulalas ng lalaki. She bit back the sack. So what if I'm a virgin, you asshole? He moved. She moaned. Tell me you can take it, he grunted. His hand, not in the sofa but moving to her hair, gathering it in a fist at the back of her neck. Yes, she breathed. Umungol ito, yanking her hair back. Unti-unti itong gumalaw. She arched her body, driving her ass into his hips, and his finger at her feminine core pressed in harder as he groaned. Nabagal itong gumalaw, slamming and grinding inside, pulling out and then thrusting it in. Her head fell back and hit his shoulder as his finger at her core, thumb and finger now tugging hard at her nipple. He was grinding inside. All of it swept over her, fearful in its power, ready to engulf her, annihilate her. Her body tense, not to welcome it, but to fight it off, because suddenly it was terrifying. Rens, singhap niya, humigpit ang kapit sa braso nito. And when she did, her orgasm came over her, her body backing in his hold as he started moving again, this time faster. Diane's mouth opened and a silent cry of rapture floated out, sweeping her away as she clasped him. Rens bent forward, pinatong niya ang mga kamay sa sofa. Patuloy pa rin itong gumagalaw, naglalabas-pasok. Ang mga kamay nito ay nagtungo sa kanyang bewang habang palalim ng palalim at pabilis ng pabilis ang paggalaw nito. Diane, he grunted. He backed, thrusting, groaning, his fingers digging into her hips as he came, hard sparks of release inside of her. And then they both collapsed on top of the sofa. Parehong humihingal at naghahabol ng hininga. Parehong pawisan ngunit baliwala iyon sa kanila. And I'm glad you married a lady like Diane, Antonio. Puri ng kanyang ama na nakaupo sa kabisera ng malaking lamesa. Nagtungo sila ni Diane sa mansyon ng mga magulang niya upang ipakilala ito. And now they were having a dinner. I'll take that as a compliment, sir, nakangiting wika ni Diane. Inabot nito ang baso na nasa tabi at uminom ng tubig. Amy Kane, his younger sister, sneered. Napatingin siya dito ngunit ang tensyon nito ay nasa pinggan na wala ng laman. Does she even know na it's just for the sake of the legacy of the company? Sa unang pagkakataon ay nagsalita ito. Ems, saway ng ina niya. For the age of 48, the woman still looked younger. Maganda pa rin ito. Ems rolled her eyes ceilingward. What? I was just asking. That's a rude way of asking, Amy. Matalim ang mga mata ng kanilang ama dito. Now lady, if you're done, go back to your room. Dad, I'm 23. You don't have to tell me things that I should do. Yeah, you're 23. But you're acting like a teenager. Hindi ito sumagot. Her eyes were cold as she stared back at them. Pag-quiet tumayo ito at nag-walk out. Mahabang katahimikan ang namayani sa kanila. Pero ang kanyang ina ang unang kumibo. She cleared her throat. Mabuti pa tapusin na natin ang hapunan. Tumingin ito kay Diane. Pagkatapos nito ay ililibot kita sa mansyon, iha. And you can sleep here with your husband. Tumango lamang si Diane bilang sagot. He needed to make her feel safer, to guide her to trust him, trust his family, allow her time to get to know all of them, primarily him, not possibly hurt her, and in doing any of that, destroy any chance of ever gaining her trust. Hindi niya alam kung ano yun, but he wanted to make breakfast with her, ate breakfast with her, talking about important things that matters she had to know. She told him about her that he needed to know. Napapuntong hininga si Rens, so he had to get his sit together before he saw her again. He just didn't know how. Tumingala siya sa kalangitan at pinagmasdan ang mga bituin mula sa balkonahe ng kwarto niya. But he thinks it was definitely more. Something in him he didn't understand was driving him insane to be connected with Diane in such a way. Ang tunog ng pagbukas ng pinto ng kwarto niya ang nagpaputol sa daloy ng kanyang iniisip. Napatingin siya sa pumasok. It was Diane. Dahan-dahan niya itong nilapitan, watching her as she was watching him. Nang makarating sa harapan nito ay hinaplos niya ang pisngi ng asawa. Diane tilted her head. Pagkuha hinalikan niya ito. Malalim, mapusok, naghahanap ng tugon mula sa asawa. Hindi ito lumaban, bagkos ay hinantihan ang mga halik niya. Equally. The need to have love-making was too strong to ignore. He didn't want to make love to her. He didn't want his hand on her. He wanna fuck her again, hard. Take her, claim her. She moaned as he gripped her ass and carried her. Ibinaba niya ito sa kama nang hindi humihiwalay ang kanilang mga labi. Isa-isa niyang tinanggal ang butones ng blusa nito, exposing her bra, her skin. He then unclasped her bra. Damn, he wanted to taste her so bad that he could taste it in his mouth. Bumaba ang mga labi niya sa leeg nito, patungo sa puno ng dibdib nito, giving tiny kisses and leaving kiss marks. Rens, he heard her moan his name, like she was about ready to come. It had nearly torn him out of his skin. Nang sa wakas ay marating niya ang pakay. He suppled the nipple like a baby. Diane arched her back against the bed. Napapasinghap ito. He needed the other one, plucking the other nipple, worshipping it like a baby. It tastes so damn good. He couldn't get enough. Bumaba ang isang kamay niya. Tinanggal niya ang botones at ibinaba ang zipper ng pantalon nito. Pumasok ang kamay sa loob, hanggang sa loob ng underwear. Ipinasok niya ang daliri at napaungol. She was wet. She was ready for him. Iningala niya ito. Goddamn hot. Kaya pala hindi na ito kumikilos. Ay, natutulog na ito. What the fuck, Rens curse. Hindi alam kung matatawa o maiinis. Ito ang ikalawang beses na tinulugan siya nito sa kalagitnaan ng kanilang lovemakings. He shook his head incredulously. Hindi niya talaga ito maintindihan. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Present. Why did you leave, Diane? Tanong ng asawa sa kanya. Don't go there, Diane, came the small voice inside her head. Hindi siya umimik, bagkos ay pinagmasdan ang mga punong nadadaanan nila patungong mansyon ng mga magulang ni Rens. Ayaw niyang sumagot, ayaw niyang sabihin ang dahilan, dahil pakiramdam niya ay bubuhos ang mga emosyon na pilit niyang itinatago. Nalaman ko na lang na nasa ibang bansa ka na, without saying anything. And now what? You want an annulment? He asked irritably. She swallowed, bile rising in her throat. She could feel the funny taste in her mouth. Tama ito. Pumunta siyang Amerika. Not that because she took a contract there, Maibang dahilan, pero iyon ang ipinaalam niya sa lahat. At that time, she really didn't care if Rens exposed her true identity. Wala siyang pake. Gusto lamang niyang makaalis. To lick all her wounds and mend her broken heart. Rens, it's better if we were just friends. Mahinang wika niya. Don't give me that bullshit. He snapped. Humigpit ang knuckles nito sa manibela ng sasakyan. Why? Nagtatakang sinulyapan niya ito. Nothing's wrong with just being friends. Friends, ha? Bulalas nito. Pinukpok ang manibela. Napaitad siya sa ginawa nito. At umiwas ng tingin dito. Her husband was angry. Beyond angry. Ang mga ugat sa leeg nito ay naglilitawan. His face, till his ears, were red. Fuck friends. So, is it like we ignore each other and pretend that the other person doesn't exist? But deep down, we both know it wasn't supposed to be like that. That's not protesta niya. Ngunit pinutol nito ang sasabihin niya. Fuck it. So explain. Explain to me, what is it? Because I don't know what kind of games you're playing. Napabundong hininga siya. Rens, she opened her mouth as if to say something. Then close it again. Umiling ito. Sinusubukang pakalmahin ang sarili. Saka ito nagsalita ng masigurado sa sariling kalmado na. Sweetheart, no one can be friends after being lovers. Hindi siya umimik dahil may punto ito. She wished they never did it. She wished she never loved him. She wished she never fell so deep in love with him. Because now there was no way. No any way they could be just friends. Sumandal siya sa upuan. Pinagmasdang muli ang mga puno na nadadaanan. Ni isa sa kanila ay walang umimik hanggang sa makarating sa mansyon. Nagulat pa siya nang makita ang kakambal niya at sumibol ang kaba sa dibdib. Hindi alam ng mga ito na ikinasal siya kay Rens. Not that everyone knows. Tanging ang parents lamang ng asawa ang nakakaalam. Ang lolo at kapatid nito at ang kanyang ama. Hindi pa siya handang magpaliwanag sa mga ito kung anong namamagitan sa kanila ni Rens at hindi pa alam ng lahat kung anong relasyon niya sa mga Antonio. Is it okay if I dance with Rens? Ani ng best friend niyang si Shemika Tyler. The woman didn't even wait for a reply. Hinila na nito si Rens sa dance floor. Her mouth gaped open. Then, as if in trance, she closed it again and took a step back. Turned and walked to the drinks. Iinom siya at wala siyang pake kung malasing siya. Nakakailang lagok pa lamang siya, ay feeling niya isang bote na ang nainom niya. She felt tipsy. Damn alcohol, she cursed. Stop it, Jeremy snapped. Pinigilan siya nito. I want more, ingos niya dito bago lumagok ng alak. Iinom pa sana siyang muli ang kaso, ay inagaw na nito ang bote ng alak at inilayo sa kanya. Damn, ang KJ, paghihimutok niya. Inirapan niya ito at hinila si James sa dance floor. I'm stupid, sabi niya dito habang patuloy silang sumasayaw sa soft music na pumapailan lang sa lawn ng mansyon kung saan ginaganap ang party. Hindi ito umimik pero naramdaman niya ang pagyugyog ng balikat nito. Alam niyang tinatawanan siya ng lalaki pero hindi niya kayang magalit sa reaksyon nito. And in love, she continued. And stupid again for falling in love with him. There, he patted her back. Like what he always did in the past. Natural lang sa buhay ang maging estupida, biro nito. She playfully smacked his arms. Don't ever break Jermai's heart. Pagkatapos ng tugtog ay napalitan muli iyon ng isa pang kantang romantiko. At namalayan niya na lang ang sariling isinasayaw ni Rens. What are you doing? She hissed. What are you doing? She hissed. Cause his hands were gripping her butt while swaying to the tune of music. She could feel his erection behind the pants he was wearing. Napalunok siya at bahagya itong itinulak. Nakakaramdam siya ng kakaibang sensasyon sa kanyang katawan. Rens grinned at her. What do you think? You're still a pervert, aren't you? She snorted. Charm. Seductive humor. She loved his smile. The sheer wicked devilry in it. The warmth she had always glimpsed now flaring into heat. Dahan-dahan siyang hinapit nito at nagsayaw. She sighed in defeat and rested her head onto his shoulders. She really loved this man. She had long ago used to the fact that she would always love him, and she was terribly afraid. And she was terribly afraid that she will be like this for the rest of her life. If only she could stay in his arms forever. Maya-maya pa, ay nagpaalam siya sa asawa upang magbanyo. She walked through the lawn a little tipsy, and that was then she felt it. A hand that pushed her front behind. Nawalan siya ng balanse at nagtuloy-tuloy sa pool kung nasaan ang malalim na parte. Suminghap siya upang makasagap ng hangin. Ngunit imbis na hangin ay tubig ang pumuno sa kanyang ilong at bibig. Ang mga kamay ay nagpapasag. Ang alak at pagkahilo ay nawala sa sistema. Napalitan ng takot. She screamed for her. She screamed for help. Ni hindi siya maalam lumangoy dahil hydrophobic siya. And she screamed and struggled. Then someone caught her arms at inangat siya sa pool. It was Rens. She knew it was him, cause she could smell him, and could feel the familiar warmth from his embrace. Umahon siya at agad na niyakap ni Diane ang mga braso sa balikat ng lalaki. Sinubsob niya ang mukha sa leeg nito, seeking for comfort. Gayon na lamang ang pagpipigil niyang huwag bumulalas ng iyak sa nangyari. Nanginginig siya sa takot. Gusto niyang aluin ang sarili at sabihin pa naginip lamang ang pagkakatulak sa kanya, na kung sino man ang nagtulak sa kanya ay hindi nito sinasadya, nadala lamang iyon ng kanyang kalasingan. Chapter 12. Nagising si Diane nang maramdamang may tao sa kwarto. Si Melba, ang mayordoma ng mansyon. Hinawin nito ang kortina sa kwarto. She lifted her face off her pillow and squinted at the familiar surroundings. The sun beaming through the windows. Gutom ka na ba, iha? Bungad nito nang makitang gising na siya. Pinapagising ka ni Rens. Makatanghali upang makakain ng tanghalian. Tuluyang nagising si Diane pagkarinig sa pangalan ng asawa. Naalala niya ang mga pangyayari kagabi. Nanginig siya at sumipol ang kaba sa dibdib. Ayaw man niyang paniwalaan, ngunit totoong nangyari iyon. She was almost drowned. But who would push her? She shook at the thought. At nang mapansing walang kasuotan ay napaupo sa kama. Muling itinakip ang kumot sa katawan. Bakit ho ako nakahubad? Naieskandalong tanong niya. Baka hinubaran ka ng asawa mo kagabi, iha. Anito. Napangulagat si Diane. Pagkapanhik sa'yo kagabi ay nakatulog ka sa mga bisig ni Rens. Paliwanag pa ng matandang katulong. Ni hindi makakibo si Diane. Inalisan siya ng damit ni Rens. Nakaramdam siya ng hiya. Kaya ba tila ay napapanaginipan niya ito kagabi? Nayakap-yakap siya and whispered some comforting words in his love for her. Totoo kaya ang panaginip niya? Muli siyang umiling. Asawa pa rin siya ni Rens para sa mga ito. Wala bang nagbago? Kahit na 5 taon siyang nawala? Noong umalis po ako, ano pong nangyari kay Rens? Kay Lizzie? Gumuhit ang pagtataka sa mukha ng mayordoma. Anong ibig mong sabihin? Nagkikita po ba sila? Gusto niyang sabihin kung nagsasama ba, ngunit iyon ang lumabas sa bibig niya. Paano kung ganoon nga ang ginawa ni Rens? Di sana'y sinabi iyon sa kanya ng mama at papa nito. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit mo tinatanong iyan, iha. Pero may nahihimigan ako sa tono mo. Kung ang iniisip mo ay nagkikita ba sila ng palihim, bilang magkasintahan ay nagkakamali ka. Naghihinalang tumingin ito sa kanya. Kahit kailan ay hindi papatulan ni Rens iyon. At kung mangyari man, si Lizzie ay nasa showbiz, dapat ay nabalitaan na agad iyon. She stared back at the older woman. Tama naman ito. Anumang lihim ang itago o maaaring ingatan ng dalawa, ay imposibleng walang makakaalam. Ngunit naisip niya ang relasyon niya kay Rens at sa mga Antonio. Walang nakakaalam dahil naitago nila iyon ng maigi. At malalaman mo agad iyon sa Amerika kung nagkataon. Hindi na niya alam kung ano pang iisipin at sasabihin. Gulong-gulo na siya. Nagsinungaling ba si Shem sa sinabi nito noon sa kanya tungkol kay Lizzie? Pero best friend niya si Shem. Bakit ito magsisinungaling? Iha, kung may kinalaman noon si Lizzie sa pag-alis mo, sinasabi ko sa'yo, naging pabigla-bigla ka. Malumanay na saad nito at nagtungo sa pinto palabas. Naiwang nag-iisip si Diane. Nagkamali nga ba siya? Naging pabigla-bigla nga ba siya? But she saw the truth with her very own eyes. Idagdag pa ang pagtungo ni Lizzie sa kwarto ni Rens. Nalilito siya. Matapos ang kanyang pag-iisip ay mabilis siyang nagtungo ng banyo at nagbihis. Mabilis siyang lumabas ng kwarto at pababa na siya ng hagdanan nang maramdaman niyang nagtaasan ang balahibo sa kanyang braso, patungong batok. Niyakap niya ang sarili. Tila ba ay nilalamig siya. Maya-maya pa'y naramdaman niya ang kamay na lumapat sa likuran niya. Ang puwersa niyon na naging dahilan ng paghulog niya sa hagdanan. Ni hindi niya nalingunan kung sino man iyon. Ni hindi siya nakahuma. Ni hindi siya nakasigaw para manghingi ng tulong dahil walang boses na lumabas sa bibig niya. Mabilis siyang nagpagulong-gulong sa hagdanan. On instinct ay napahawak siya sa railings ng ika-4 na baitang ng hagdan. Sindak niyang liyoko ang ibaba at nilingon ang mga kamay na nakakapit. Nanginginig ang mga iyon. 2 dipa na lang ang layo niya mula sa ibaba. Kung hindi siya nakakapit ay marahil na bagok na ang ulo niya. Ubod lakas niyang hinila ang sarili upang makaupo ng maayos sa hagdanan. Nananakit ang buong katawan niya. Pakiramdam niya ay nabalian siya ng buto. Tumaas bumaba ang dibdib niya sa takot, pagod at kaba. Oh God! Her teeth were chattering uncontrollably habang nakapikit at nakakapit ng mahigpit sa railings. Subalit wala doon ang pansin at isip ni Diane. Ito ay noong nasa Amerika siya. Nasa bahay siya noon ng kanyang tiyahin. Nang inakala niyang tumawag si Rens, ay nagmamadali siyang bumaba ng hagdanan na hindi niya namalayang basa iyon. Then she slipped. Nagpakawala ng sigaw si Diane sa pagguhit ng sakit sa kanyang tiyan. She pressed her hands against her stomach. No! Usal niya sa nanlalaking mga mata nang makitang may pulang likidong dumadaloy sa binti niya. Hinawakan niya iyon at tinignan ang palad. Dugo! Dugo iyon! Oh God! She sobbed. Pabalik-balik ang tingin sa binti at sa kamay. Oh my God! Napatili nang muling gumuhit ang sakit sa tiyan. Si Rens ay tahimik na naupo sa mesa sa bakuran ng bahay. Tiningala ang langit at bumuntong hininga. Nilingon niya ang kaibigang si Kane na nagbabasa ng magazine. At the age of 32, the man was still ruggedly handsome. If a man could be more ruthless, Kane Scarlett was the living example of it. Kung siya ay easygoing, kabaliktaran naman niya ito. Katulad ng asawa ay kababalik lamang nito sa Pilipinas. Ito ay nagmamay-ari ng mga restaurant sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo. Si Diane. He shook his head mentally. Tila ba ay may kakaiba dito. Simula nang umalis at nang dumating. Kung hindi lang sa pakiusap ng ama nitong si Vince, ay paniguradong pinaimbestigahan at sinundan na niya ito sa ibang bansa. Devil woman. Putol nito sa daloy ng isip niya. Ang tinutukoy nito ay ang babaeng nasa magazine, kung saan na-feature ang isa sa pinakasikat na bar sa lugar nila, ang The Stripper. The woman's beauty in the magazine was lethal enough. Her lips and her body were equally deadly. Voluptuous. Kahit pa hindi ito katangkaran, ngunit iyon ang asset nito. Tumango siya. Their pain in the neck, amused na sang-ayon niya dito. Kilala niya ang tinutukoy nito. Si Chofin Margaret Montero, ang pinsan ni Diane. Ito ang may-ari ng club, bagamat hanggang sayaw lamang ang ginagawa nito. Naging kaibigan niya ito noon dahil katulad niya, ay easygoing din ito at palabiro. So, tama pala ako kung ganon. Saan? That you wanted her. The man stared back at him with a puzzled look on his face. Rens nodded to the magazine. Hindi ito kumibo at binalik muli ang atensyon sa pagbabasa. Pagkway. She's off limits back then. Too young and too innocent. You know me. I want older women, and I like it hard, especially I like it fast. Rens chuckled. I'm dying to hear the but. Tumango ito bagaman hindi humihiwalay ang tingin sa binabasang magazine. JC found out, but it was too late. Ikiniling niya ang ulo. I wonder so many times why JC didn't kill you. He was more scared of that little woman kaysa sa akin. Ani Kane sa tinatamad na tono. Rens chuckled again. Mahabang katahimikan ang lumipas. Napabuntong hininga siya. What's with the sigh? I can't seem to find the right words with her. Wala sa loob niyang sinabi. Ang tinutukoy ay ang asawa. Pagdating sa babaeng iyon ay hindi ko malaman ang sasabihin ko. Hindi ko siya maintindihan. Si Shower? Shit, Kane, natatawang bulalas niya. Si Diane ang tinutukoy ko. Oh, nag-fake ito ng pagtataka. I'm in love with her. Smitten. he said gently, almost in a whisper. Umangat ang sulok ng labi ni Kane. I thought you don't believe in love, pang-aasar nito. Sandali siyang sinulyapan. Says who? He snapped. Tumawa ito. And what's wrong with her? She wants an annulment, galit na wika ni Rens. Lumayo siya at inilagay ang dalawang kamay sa bulsa ng maong. I really don't understand why. Gusto niyang maging magkaibigan na lamang kami. To hell with that. Yeah, to hell with that. You can never be friends with the one you made love with. You can never be friends with your lovers. And you can never be friends with the person you fell in love with. Gusto niyang sabihin iyon sa asawa. Gusto niyang ipamukha iyon sa asawa upang maliwanagan ito. At malaman nito ang tunay niyang nararamdaman. Ganun-ganun na lang ba? Pagkabalik nito galing ng ibang bansa, ay gusto na agad nito maghiwalay sila? Ibinuka niya ang bibig upang magsalitang muli, ngunit naunahan iyon ng isang napakalakas na tili mula sa loob ng bahay. Mabilis silang tumayo ni Kane at nagtungo sa loob. Laking gulat niya nang matagpuan si Diane na nakaupo sa hagdanan. Her face is stricken and she was sobbing hysterically. Diane! Bulalas niya at dali-daling umakyat patungo rito. Oh God! Oh God! Nahihintakot ang wika nito. Ang mga mata ay ligalig. And she was crying hysterically. What happened? Nag-aalalang tanong niya. Ini-examine niya ang braso at mukha nito. Bruises were all over her arms, legs, and face. She shook her head sharply. Tears were streaming down her face. My baby! Rens, our baby! Sinapo niya ang dalawang pisngi nito. At pilit pinopokus ang mga mata nito sa kanya. What baby, princess? Ngunit tila ba ay hindi niya ito nakikita. Tila ba ay hindi siya nito nakikita. Para bang nagtatagos ang paningin nito kay Rens, na para bang nasa malayo ang diwa nito. Panay pa ang tingin sa palad at binti. Oh God! No! No! Nagsilapitan na ang mga katulong, pati ang mga pinsan at kamag-anak niya, ay nakatunghay na mula sa second floor ng mansion. Marahil ay narinig ang pagsigaw ng asawa. Ang mga ito ay nagtataka rin. Melba, tawag niya sa mayordoma. Tawagin mo ang family doctor. Utos ni Rens sa katulong. Mabilis namang tumalima ito. Dalhin mo ako sa ospital, may dugo. Tili nito habang naiiyak. Diane touched her thighs and looked at in horror. Sweetheart, sinandal niya ang noo sa noo nito. Naguguluhan na siya. What baby was she talking about? Nagka-baby ba sila? Nabuntis ba ito? At nakunan? Saglit na natigil ang lalaki at may kuwit ng sakit sa kanyang puso dahil sa kaisipan. What baby are you talking about? Our baby! She said hysterically as she clutched his hands. What happened? Si Ems iyon na sumulpot mula sa second floor. Mukhang nadulas sa hagdanan. Sagot niya pero kay Diane pa rin nakapokus ang paningin. Trouble again? Naiinis na wika nito. Hindi niya pinansin ang kapatid. Calm down, princess. Rens wiped the tears of her face at dinampian ng halik sa labi si Diane. Unti-unti itong napatigil sa paghe-hysterical at pag-iyak. Now, what baby are you talking about? She blinked and stared back at him, as if she saw him for the very first time. Rens, she gasps. What baby? Kinakabahang wika nito at binitawan ang mga kamay niya. Stupid woman. I'm the one who had no idea of what you were mumbling out. Ismid niya na hindi pa rin inaalis ang pagkakasapo sa dalawang pisngi nito. Napalunok ito. Stared at his shoulder and she clutched her arms. What happened? Tanong niya. Doble ang pakahulugan ng tanong. She stuttered. Tumingin ito sa taas at ibinaba ulit ang tingin. Nadulas ako. Right, Rens muttered at dahan-dahang binuhat ang asawa. Inakyat niya ang hagdan, nagprotesta ito. Ngunit wala doon ang isip niya kundi sa mga sinabi nito. Iniisip niyang may nangyari kay Diane sa Amerika. It was something so fishy and horrible. Nasisiguro niyang may kinalaman iyon sa baby na tinutukoy nito. And he'd find out everything. Chapter 13. Past. Sinikap ni Diane na igalaw ang katawan subalit hindi magawa. Anong nangyari sa kanya? Bakit hindi siya makakilos? Bakit tila namamanhit siya? Hindi niya maigalaw ang binti at braso niya. Nasaan siya? Sandaling pumikit si Diane at pilit na hinahagilap sa isipan ang mga pangyayari. Pagkatapos ay iglap ding nagmulat ng mga mata nang maalala kung ano ang nangyari. Nadulas siya sa hagdanan ng bahay ng tita niya. Naaksidente siya. She remembered the shock, the bleeding, and the awful cramping pain. Then everything went black. Bumukas ang pinto at pumasok ang tiyahin niya. Lumapit ito sa kanya at umupo sa upuan na nasa tabi ng kama. Hindi niya mabasa ang ekspresyon nito. My baby? Her voice croaked. Gusto niyang makatiyak. Umaasa siya na kahit papaano ay ligtas ang baby niya. Gumuhit ang lungkot at pait sa mga mata nito. And Diane knew, she already knew, that she had lost her baby, ang anak nila ni Rens. Nanikip ang dibdib niya. No! Gusto niyang itanggi ang pangyayari. She felt so empty. Gusto niya magsalita, ngunit walang lumalabas sa kanyang bibig. She placed her hand against her stomach, and a huge sob had dripped out of her chest, and tears, hot and salty, had flowed down her cheeks. This must be how it felt when you were being knifed, literally, in the pain was unbearable, and she was falling to pieces. Sasabihin ko ba sa papa mo? Tanong nito sa kanya. And how about the father of the child? Umiling si Diane. Hindi rin niya alam kung ano ang sasabihin at gagawin. Patuloy siya sa impit na pag-iyak. By the time Diane had been at home for a week, she had begun veering wildly between the urge to tell Rens the truth and the urge to protect herself from further pain. Masakit ang mga pangyayaring iyon sa kanya, at wala marahil ina ang makaka-recover sa pagkawala ng isang anak sa anumang paraan. Kahit taon pa ang nakalipas, she still woke in the middle of the night crying out for the lost. Present. Si Diane na ibinuka ang bibig upang punuin ng hangin ang kanyang dibdib. Tila kinakapos ang hininga sa bahaging iyon ng alaala. Napapikit siya. Ilang araw na simula nang mangyari sa kanya ang aksidente sa mansyon ng mga Delgado. Wala namang nabali sa mga buto, ngunit nagtamo siya ng mga galos at pasa. At dahil doon, ay minabuti na muna niyang huwag sumali sa mga fashion show kahit pa magaling na ang mga pasa niya. Hindi siya makapaniwalang may magtatangka sa kanya. At sa mansyon pa ng mga Delgado, napailing siya sa sarili. Maaaring guni-guni niya lamang iyon. Minabuti niyang matulog na lang muli. Niyakap niya ng mahigpit ang kanyang unan. Inamoy niya iyon. It smells so good, so masculine. It was a glorious feeling. Napatigil siya. Masculine? Kailan pa naging masculine ang amoy ng unan niya? Napilitan tuloy siyang unti-unting magmulat ng mga mata at marahang iniatras ang ulo. Isang matipunong dibdib ang namulatan niya. Nanlaki ang mga mata ng babae. Kasabay ng pagbangon ay ang pagtili. May katabi siyang lalaki sa higaan, nakayakap at nakadantay pa sa kanya. Naalimpungatang napamulat ng mga mata ang lalaki at tinutup ang noo nang biglang napaangat sa pagkakahiga. What happened? Kumurap-kurap pa ito at nang makitang siya lang ang sumigaw, ay pumikit na muli sa kahumikan sa kama. You'll wake up the dead, princess? Anong ginagawa mo dito? Lawrence Delgado? Sindak niyang tanong na bumaba ng kama. Bakit ka narito? Paano ka nakapasok sa silid ko? At lalong-lalo na sa bahay ko? Paano ito nakapasok? At paano nito nalaman na nakatira siya sa bahay nila? Dati noong hindi pa namamatay ang mami niya. Ngunit hindi siya pinansin ng asawa. Nakadapa lamang ito sa higaan niya at walang pakialam sa histerya niya. At nang ma-realize na ang suot lamang niya ay bra at underwear, ay mabilis niyang kinuha ang kumot na nakatakip sa katawan nito upang takpan ang sarili. Napatihaya ang asawa niya at napapikit siya. Anong ginagawa mo dyan sa higaan ko? Anyang muli na hindi makatingin sa asawa. At pwede ba? Why are you not wearing anything? I'm sleeping here in your bed because I was dead tired yesterday. Nakangiting wika nito. And do you have to ask that stupid question? Ikaw ang nakakaalam na I always slept in the nude, sweetheart. Lalo na kapag katabi kita. May amusement sa tinik nito. Stop it! Takpan mo ang sarili mo o kaya ay magbihis ka na at umalis sa pamamahay ko. Natawa ito. I can't believe this. Mag-asawa na tayo at may nangyari na sa ating lahat-lahat pero he trailed off. Kinuha ang unan at itinabing sa ibabang bahagi ng katawan. Pagkatapos ay sumeryoso ito. Now let's talk. Biglang tumalim ang mga mata ni Diane. We have nothing to talk, Rens. Hindi iyon pinansin ng asawa at pinauna nito ang mga braso sa ulo. His muscles flex. Napalunok siya. Kay sarap niyong haplusin at pisilin. Oh, how she did it when they were still together. Bakit ka umalis? 2 beses mo na akong iniwan without saying anything. What's the problem, Diane? And what's with that thing? Saglit nitong sinulyapan ang mga papeles na nasa nightstand. Napalunok siya. Annulment papers. Alam ko kung ano yun, he snarled. Bumangon ito at isinuot ang boxer shorts. His jaw tightened. Kung nakamamatay ang tinging ipinukul nito, ay malamang kanina pa siya natumba ng walang malay. Marahang umatras si Diane. Kailangan mo na umalis. Subalit ang mga kamay ni Rens ang nagpatigil sa kanya. Marahas siyang hinawakan nito sa palapulsuhan. Ano ang ibig sabihin yon? Pagalit nitong tanong. Ano ba, Rens? Bakit? May iba ba, Diane? Marahas na tanong ng asawa. Bitawan mo ako, Rens. Sinabi ko na naman sa'yo, diba? We're better off friends. Ayoko na nito. Nagpumikla siya ngunit mas malakas ang asawa. Bakas sa mukha nito ang tinitimping galit. At kinabahan siya. Ngayon niya pa lamang ito nakitang ganoon kagalit. I am warning you, Diane. Wika nito at sa mapanganib na tinig. Sa oras na malaman kong may iba. Napalunok siya. Hindi malaman ang sasabihin at gagawin. Nanatili siyang nakatingala at nakatitig sa lalaki. His hands were like manacles on her wrists as she glared back at him. It was hard to glare when she was mesmerized by the striking handsomeness even in anger and the love she felt for him, weakening her knees. She loved him until she felt seared from the emotion. Damn you! Singhal nito at malakas na ibinalya siya sa kama. Sumunod ito sa kanya. You can't do this, aniya sa nanginginig na tinig. You won't allow it? Isang malakas na tawa ang pinakawalan nito. Pagkatapos ay hinubad nito sa kanya ang saplot. She gasped, her eyes wide open. Bago pa ma-entertain sa isip ang pagkamangha, ay naramdaman na niya ang init ng kamay nito sa dibdib niya. Rens! Naputol ang sasabihin niya ng paghapit sa kanya ni Rens at ang paglapit ng mga labi nito sa kanya. And the man was losing himself, but it didn't bother him. His kiss began to stray sa mukha ni Diane sa puno ng tenga and clicked the most sensitive part. Then his lips moved down to the hollow of her throat, down to her breasts. Angkin ng mga labi ang isa samantalang nakakulong sa isang kamay ang kabila. At tuluyan nang nagpatangay si Diane. Instinctively, she pressed against him, sweetly aching her body. She writhed and twisted beneath him, cried, moaned, and gasped. Tumigil ito sa ginagawa at hinubad ang boxer shorts. Gripping his manhood, Rens moved closer. Tell me you want me, he snarled. Say it. Damn you. Lumapit ang mga labi nito sa kanya. Tinutukso-tukso at marahang kinakagat-kagat iyon. Say it, umiling siya. Ipinasok nito ang isang daliri sa kanyang pagkababae na ay kinadahilan upang mapasanghap siya. Ang isa ay nadagdagan pa ng isa. Scissored them, she shuddered. Say it, Diane. I hate you, she snarled. You want me. His fingers drove deeper. Now tell me. She drove her hips back. Damn you, I want you. He gave her a smug smile. Pagkatapos ay inalis ang mga daliri, gently parting her thighs with his legs as he moved to cover her completely. She fought to breath as he positioned his straining flesh at the entrance of her heated depths. Pinagpapawisan ang mukha nito ng dibdib as he teased into her. Hell, she was so tight, too tight. How long? He snapped. How long we've done this? Her head shook desperately, her hips straining against him. He groaned, pulled his tortured erection back before working inside her again. There was a violence and urgency in his lovemaking, pero nagpabangon lamang iyon ng higit pang pagtugon mula kay Diane. Their bodies joined and rocked in a primitive passion. Diane screamed. She couldn't help herself. Not that the sound held any true power. You had to breathe to scream effectively. She couldn't breathe. She was too hot. She was burning. fevered with lust and so full, stretched so tight, the pleasure, pain of it was just short of too much. Narinig pa niya na isinigaw ni Rens ang pangalan niya as they both reached the climax, her fingers clenching onto his shoulder as she cried. Tears actually squeezed from beneath her lashes. There was too much pleasure, too much of the sensations. Aren't you going to say something? Ani Rens sa kanya in a mock tone, ilang oras pagkatapos ng lovemakings nila. You've been very quiet for hours, which is very unusual. Ano gusto mong sabihin ko? She croaked. Pinipigilang huwag maiyak, hindi niya ito maharap. Anong gusto kong sabihin mo? Bahagyang nanlaki ang mga mata ng lalaki, kasabay ng pag-upo sa kama at pagtawa. What about those fucking annulment papers? I'm tired, Rens. Totoo naman ang sinabi niya. Pagod na siya sa lahat ng bagay, kaya gusto niya na lamang ang magpahinga. Tumikim ito. Of course, mahabang katahimikan ang pumagitan sa kanila at nagsalita itong muli. You should get pregnant. Maagap niyang pinutol ang sinabi nito. Hindi ako mabubuntis. Seryoso niyang tinitigan ito. But Rens gave her that sexy smile that she held her breath. Oh, I'm so sure about that. I made sure that you will be pregnant with me. Bumangon siya mula sa kama at naupo sa gilid. She shook her head wildly. Hindi mo naiintindihan, Rens. Hindi na ako mabubuntis pa. Nangunot ang noo ng asawa sa sinabi niya. Chapter 14. The most heartbreaking part is watching them become a stranger in front of your very own eyes. Ngumiti si Jessica, ni hindi iyon umabot sa mga mata nito. Pinagmamasdan nito ang mga taong naglalakad sa labas ng coffee shop. You knew the sound of their laughter inside out, and now their laugh sounds unfamiliar. That someone you knew so well is someone you used to know, and that's what hurt the most. Nasa isang coffee shop sila na hindi masyadong pinupuntahan ng mga tao. Maigi na rin iyon dahil umiiwas sila sa mga paparazzi. Let me guess, nabasa mo na naman iyon sa nobelang binili mo, biro ni Diane dito. Humarap ito sa kanya at nginitian siya. Sa pagkakataong ito ay umabot na iyon sa mga mata nito. Yep, it was really good. You should read it. Sumimsim siya ng kape. Pangalawang tasa niya iyon sa araw na ito. Sandali niyang sinulyapan ang kaibigan. Jessica Rens, her best friend. Bukod kay Shem at co-model niya rin. She was tall, magkasing tangkad lamang sila. Petite and mesmerizing because of her eyes. Para itong tinititigan ang kaluluwa ng kaharap. And she had an angelic face. Naging kaibigan niya ito sa Amerika. At alam nito ang lahat ng tungkol sa kanya na hindi niya masabi sa kakakambal. Well, she guessed that there were some things that you couldn't ever tell to your family. Umiling si Diane. I'll pass. Tumingin ito sa kanya bago sumubo ng cake na in-order. So, what happened to you? And to your hot husband? Napatigil siya sa balak na pag-inom sa kape. Ibinaba niya ang tasa sa saucer at pinaglaruan ang kutsara. We're having an annulment. Bumuntong hininga ito. Really? But you love him. Aren't you afraid that you will lose him? Napapikit siya at nagmulat muli. I'm not. The most painful thing is that I have lost myself in the process of valuing him too much. Tumingin siya sa labas ng coffee shop. Ang tanging naaalala ay ang nangyari noong isang araw. Hindi sila nakapag-usap dahil tumawag ang kakambal niya. And then Rens was gone. Puff, as in gone. Anong sabi niya about sa annulment? Ayaw niya pumayag. Jessica sighed. Ayaw naman pala. Bakit ipinagpipilitan mo pang mag-anal kayo? Itinulak nito ng bahagi ang platito na may lamang cake at nagpangalumbaba sa mesa. And aren't you going to tell him about she paused, then the lost? Nangilid ang luha sa kanyang mga mata nang marinig iyon. Pero pinigilan niya iyong umatak. Sometimes those memories sneak out of her eyes and roll down to her cheeks. Pero hindi niya hahayaang iyon sa araw na to. Ibinuka niya ang bibig upang magsalita, ngunit inunahan na siya nito. At hindi mo pa tatanong sa kanya kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari 5 years ago? Ilang beses na nga ba nitong tinanong ang bagay na yun? At ang lagi niyang sagot ay, Sometimes we never ask what's wrong because we're afraid to know that it's beyond our expectations. Pumalatak si Jessica at saka umiling-iling. Minsan, kailangan din nating magtanong upang malaman natin ang buong katotohanan. She puckered her lips. Closure, ever heard of it? Tama naman ito. Kailangan nila ng closure. Pero natatakot siya. Hindi niya ito sinagot at uminom ng kape pag may nagtanong. Bakit mo nga pala ako tinawagan? Gumiti ito at tumayo. Kinuha ang clutch bag. I'll show you my new house. Ngumiti na rin siya at isiniksik sa sulok ng puso at isipan ang problema. Black suits you, puri niya sa suot na 3-piece suit ni James. Ngayong araw ang kasal ulit nila ni James at Jeremy. Sa simbahan naman, it was the wedding of the year. Journalists from around the world were in attendance. Mas malala pa ata ako sa papa niyo. Tumawa ito bago ngumiwi at inayos ang necktie. Umupo siya sa harapan nito. Nasa isang kwarto pa sila ng simbahan dahil hindi pa nag-uumpisa ang kasal. Why do you say so? Binibigay ko lahat ng luho ng kakambal mo. And I think mababankrupt na ako. Huwag kang mag-alala, may makukuha ka namang mana kay Jeremy. Biro niya sa lalaki. Nangunot ang noo nito at saka umiling. I don't care about those crap. Mas gusto kong ako ang gagastos para kay Jeremy. You really love her that much, huh? James smiled back at her. Mahal na mahal nito ang kakambal niya. No doubt about that. James heaved a sigh. I can't even forgive myself kung may nangyaring masama sa kanya noon. I'll never forget her expression that day. She turned to meet his eyes. His eyes still reflecting misery. Diane swallowed hard. Alam niya ang tinutukoy nito. That day when Jeremy almost died, when he thought that her twin sister died because of a fuckwad. She was almost raped, but buti na lang nailigtas ito ng kaibigan ni James. At nailigtas din ang nasa sinapupunan nito. Lumambot ang kanyang mga mata. Hindi ko siya natulungan. If she had died, I would have eventually followed her, James admitted. Tumayo siya at tinapik ang braso nito. You did your best as her husband, for loving her for who and what she is. That's all anyone could ever ask for. Tumango ito sa kanya at tumayo na rin. Well, I hope someday, you two will be close again. Hindi kasi sila naging magkasundo ng kakambal. Mas kasundo niya si James. Alam niya kung bakit. Dahil matagal nang may gusto ang kapatid kay James noong bata pa lamang sila. She playfully smacked his arm. Are you planning on providing me with a niece or nephew to make it worth my while? Small grin lit up in his eyes. Ang lungkot at sakit ay nawala. Very funny. I'm just getting used to the idea of all of this. Diane giggled. Oh, you won't regret this. She's so beautiful with those long white gown and all the trimmings. Napakamot ito sa ulo pero ang ngiti ay hindi maiaalis. All women seem to want those dress, huh? Why's that? He asked more onto himself. She laughed. You wouldn't understand. All women like to dress up. Nakitawa na rin ito sa kanya. Kaya ba naging modelo ka? Ang pagsagot ay naputol ng isang katok sa pintuan at ang pagdungaw ng papa niya. Umiti ito sa kanila bago nagsalita. It's time. And as the priest announced husband and wife, James and Jeremy kissed and had turned, hands clasped to the face crowd watching them. Pumapalakpak si Diane. Kasabay niyon ang pagluha. Inilipot ng kakambal niya ang mga mata. At nang magtagpo ang kanilang mga mata ay, thank you, she mouthed to them. I love you both. Diane wiped her tears. Masaya siya para sa kakambal niya. Masaya siya para kay James. At masaya siya para sa magiging baby nito. Napailing siya at napahawak sa kanyang tiyan. Nahihirapan siyang banggitin ang salitang iyon. Huminga siya ng malalim. She felt the emptiness in her. She felt the loss, the pain. Muli siyang umiling. Pa, tawag niya sa ama. Tumingin ito sa kanya nang may pagtataka. Gotta go, tumango ito. Take good care of yourself, honey, he said as he patted her head. I love you, Papa, she whispered, then hugged him for a bit. Nagpaalam muli at umalis. Ngunit bago pa makasakay sa kanyang sasakyan, ay may biglang humigit sa kanyang braso. She gasped and faced the owner of the masculine hand. It was Rens, her husband, and soon-to-be ex-husband. Nakatiimbagang ito. Let's talk, tipid na sabi nito. Mabilis niyang binawi ang braso. Wala tayong pag-uusapan, Rens. She tilted her head. Pinipigilang maiyak. Everything will be over, soon. Ngunit hindi na niya iyon idinugtong pa. Pagkatapos niyon, ay sumakay na siya sa sasakyan at pinasibad paalis sa lugar na iyon. Dumiretso siya sa kanyang bahay. Ni hindi niya namalaya na sumunod pala ito sa kanya. Anong ginagawa mo dito? Are you deaf or what? Hindi ba sabi ko wala na tayong pag-uusapan? Galit niyang sabi. Ito ba ang gusto mo? Inilabas nito sa envelope ang annulment papers na ipinadala niya dito. May perma na niya iyon. Ito? Itinaas nito iyon at sa pagkagulat niya, ay pinagpupunit-punit sa maliliit na peraso. Sumigaw siya. Just what the hell, Lawrence Delgado? Naiisip mo ba yung ginagawa mo? Halo-halo ang emosyon ng asawa niya at hindi niya iyon mawari. Explain this to me. Hinagis nito ang envelope at bumagsak iyon sa sahig. She glared back at him. Pinulot ang envelope at binuksan iyon. Mga papeles ang nandoon. Binasa niya iyon. Ilang ulit pa niya iyong ginawa dahil hindi pumasok sa isipan. Pagko'y nanginig siya. Paanong nabitiwan niya ang mga papeles? Rens stared back at her compassionately. Ang galit ay nawala. Diane stepped back warily. If her chest had been tight before, there was a band of pure agony clenching around it now. She licked her dry lips, in fault, to pull her eyes from Rens. She could see it in his eyes, the truth, the knowledge that he knew already, that he knew the horror happened to her. I talked to Joshua, the private investigator, and he had found everything, he told her. Humakbang ito palapit sa kanya. Her lips parted as she forced herself to breathe, forced herself to get control of the pain beating down on her. God, when would it end? When would the pain would stop? No, ang mga kamay niya ay napayakap sa tiyan, kasabay ng pag-iling. No, her cry was ragged. She felt it leave. Her throat and her knees went weak. Namalayan niya na lamang na nasa bisig siya ng asawa. And she was sobbing hysterically. Chapter 15. Nakita ni Rens ang asawa na nasa harapan ng TV sa sala. Kagagaling lamang niya sa office sa hotel upang ayusin ang mga bagay-bagay. She was lying on the sofa, her hands in prayer-like positioned under her cheek. Her eyes were open. Inangat nito ang ulo nang makita siya. Wala itong nireact maski ano. Pagkatapos ay bumagsak na ulit ang pisngi sa mga kamay nito. This didn't faze him. After being treated to days of this kind of behavior, while he was in her house, he got used to it. Mahigit 2 linggo at kalahati na ang lumipas. Simula noong malaman niya ang nangyari dito sa Amerika. Ang pagkawala ng baby nila. Ayon sa report ni Joshua, Diane had a concussion, a sprained wrist, some intense bruising. Kung sa tutuusin ay swerte pa daw ang asawa niya ayon kay Josh dahil gawa sa bato ang hagdanan na iyon. His wife could have broken her neck, broken her back, or her head injury could have caused brain damage, but none of this happened. She was alive and breathing and was released from the hospital within a few weeks. Simula nang malaman niya ang nangyari dito, ay palagi na itong tahimik. Her moments of silent contemplation far more frequent and far longer. And for the first time, Rens did not enjoy them. Napakatagal niyon. Kung hindi ito nananahimik ay natutulog lang naman. Naiintindihan naman niya iyon. Dahil hindi naman niya alam ang pakiramdam ng mawalan ng bata na nasa loob ng sinapupunan. But just like his wife, he too lamented the loss of their child. The child he had never known. He was looking forward to sharing that with Diane. Looking forward to every aspect of it with great anticipation. But it would never happen. Ever. Hinding-hindi na ito pwedeng manganak ulit dahil sa aksidente. And whatever he felt about the loss was simply emotional. It had not been tied to the physical. He had not had a child in distress die inside him. Hindi tulad ng asawa. And he couldn't imagine her pain. Therefore, he was willing to let her have her head Hinayagan niya iyon dahil wala marahil ang ina ang makaka-recover sa trauma ng pagkawala ng anak sa sinapupunan sa anumang paraan. Kaya siguro ganoon na lamang ang reaksyon nito noong nakaraang linggo nang mahulog sa hagdanan ng mansyon ng lolo niya. Marahil ay naalala nito ang nangyari dati. But they always spent tense days together. Nagigising na ito, holding her tight body close for long moments before she told him she needed coffee. Hahalikan niya ito sa balikat at pagkatapos ay lalabas ng kwarto upang gumawa ng kape. Then he worked in her living room while she pottered around her house. This went on. As the days slid by, she'd always remained distant and on edge, and resolutely remained close. Kapag nasa office naman siya at nagtatrabaho, ay tinatawagan niya ito. Though the conversations were short, one-sided, his side, and formal and coming home to her house at night. Mas madalas pa kung mag-usap sila, pero kahit na hinahayaan niyang lumalayo ang emosyon nito, ay hindi naman niya hinahayaang lumayo ito physically sa kanya. He would nestle her close when they were both on the couch. He would hold her when they were in bed, and he would take every opportunity he could to pull her into his arms and brush his lips against hers. At kapag nangyayari yun, makikita niyang kinakabahang binabasa nito ang labi o mangingilid ang mga luha sa mata nito, pero hindi ito magsasalita. Ang akala niyang bibigyan siya ng pagkakataon ng asawa upang makapag-usap sila o maaayos ang lahat, ay hindi nangyari. Kahit na nga ba 2 linggo at kalahati na ang nakalipas, ay nawawala na siya ng pasensya. Tinabihan niya ito sa sofa at katulad ng dati ay nanigas ito. Rens, bulong nito. He cut her off as his arm slid around his waist. Quiet, princess. I think quiet. We shouldn't. He carefully pulled her into his body. Pinaupo niya ito sa kandungan niya. Diane, I said quiet, he said softly, but more firmly. Nakita niya ang pamumuo ng luha sa mga mata nito. Napalunok ito. Tumingin sa tenga niya, sa balikat at sa ibang direksyon. Hindi hinahayaang magtagpo ang kanilang mga mata. Then she said, okay, but she didn't mean it. Ginugol nila ang gabing iyon sa panunood sa telebisyon. This was all done in silence. Hanggang sa makatulog ito sa balikat niya. He took her to bed. Nagising siya isang araw at gising na rin ito. But she was stiff. She was always awake before him. And always, for some reason, only known to Diane, she would lay in bed until he woke. Ang braso niyang nasa bewang nito ay humigpit. Lalo pang nanigas ito sa kinahihigaan. Lagi niyang hinahapit ito kada paggising niya. At sa rason na hindi niya alam na ang asawa lamang niya ang nakakaalam, ay lagi itong maninigas. Pinikit niya ang mga mata dahil sa pagkabigo. He knew what the morning would bring and what the day would bring. Diane, bulong niya sa likod ng ulo nito. You should go, balik nito. Nagulat siya sa sinabi ng asawa. It was then his body grew solid. Why, he asked. I don't want you here, she told him. Her voice quiet and remote. Her words felt like acid injected straight into a vein. Hindi ito humaharap sa kanya. Hindi niya pinansin ang sakit na idinulot niyon bagkus ay nagwika. Sorry, princess, I'm willing to give you just about anything you want. But I'm afraid that's something I can't give you. She shook her head sharply. Wala namang rason kung bakit nandito ka pa. Magpapatuloy nito. Ang boses nito ay mahina pa rin. Her head dipped down. Her body remained tight. Her words slashed through his gut, and he pulled her vaguely, resisting body closer. Before he asked, bakit mo naman nasabi yan? Because you were with me for years. Because you were with me for your legacy, and for the baby. But there's no baby, and I won't ever have a baby anymore, so... Napatigil ito sa pagsasalita nang humigpit ang braso niya dito. I wasn't with you for the baby, sabi niya dito. His voice as tight as his arm. His temper rising, but he controlled it barely. It's okay, Rens. I'll be okay eventually. You can just... Diane, may bantang tinik niya. Seriously, she said firmly. Seriously, his reply was even more firmly. I wasn't with you for the baby. I was with you for you, and he was telling the truth. I can't believe. He cut her off even more firmly, demanding. Believe, wala akong natatandaang nag-usap tayo noon. Napakakasalan kita dahil gusto kong magka-baby. Rens, pinutol niya ulit ito. This is the first and last time we're having this ludicrous discussion. Rens, Diane, don't say any word. Hindi mo. His arm shook her body gently. Diane, not another fucking word. She grew silent. Her body stayed taut. For his part, Rens used those moments to control his anger and seek patience, which he had a feeling. And he was right. He would need a lot of in the coming weeks. Finally, she said quietly, I need a cup of coffee. Thinking that making a cup of coffee would be a good opportunity to control his temper and find his patience, he agreed. I'll see to it. Hinalikan niya ang balikat nito at saka bumaba sa kama. It was Sunday, their day, and it was bloody well time for him to break through. His face nuzzled the hair at the back of her neck, and he whispered, Sweetheart? Rens interrupted her and went on. You need to start eating more, but I'm not. Pinutol niya ang sinabi nito at nagpatuloy sa sinasabi. And we need to go back to my house. Napapitlag ito. Umayos si Rens sa pagkakahiga at isiniksik ang mukha sa leeg ng asawa. I love your house, sweetheart. And I understand why you needed to be here. But it's not our home. Home, kapos ang hininga nito. Home, ulit niya at kinagat ang tenga nito. It's time to go home, princess. Pero Rens, anito sa pagitan ng paghahabol ng hininga. This is my home. He kissed the skin behind her ear, and her solid body gave a delicate shiver. His frame absorbed it gladly, and he felt like shouting in triumph. Finally, for the first time in weeks, she gave him something. Instead of shouting his triumph, he murmured, Your home is my house. She started to shift, but he held her firm and moved over her to kiss the hinge of her jaw. But, it's time to go home. But, Rens was unrelenting. This evening we're moving home. Gumalaw siya. Hinayaang mapahiga ito ng maayos sa kama. Ang asawa niya ay tumingin sa kanyang balikat. Then she said, Rens. He cut her off again by brushing his lips against her own before he whispered, Now, sweetheart, we can make love or we can have a cup of coffee. Your choice. At nagtagpo ang kanilang mga mata. Napakurap ang asawa. Make love? She breathed. Ngumisi siya at tinukso ang asawa. Is that your choice? Nanlaki ang mga mata nito, and her body, which had relaxed, went stiff again before she retorted sharply. No! Undeterred, he nevertheless relented, and still grinning, he announced, Then, we'll have coffee and then come back and make love. Tumaas ang mga kamay nito upang itulak ang asawa ngunit hindi siya natitinag. We can't make love, she snapped. All right, he replied and bent his head to nuzzle her neck. Napasinghap ito. Binigyan siya ng mahinang tulak at nag-utos. Get off! He ignored her and mused against her neck, nudging her earlobe with his nose. Or maybe we can do it at the same time? Natigil ang asawa sa pagtulak sa kanya nang marinig ang sinabi. Pagkway bumulong ito na parang hindi makapaniwala. Oh my God, you're impossible. There it was, another something. Napangiti siya sa sinabi nito. His hand drifted from her waist upward and stopped by her breast. His thumb is stroking the side. She liked that. She'd always liked that. Very much. From their first night together, he discovered how much she liked it. She liked it no less now because her body melted under his, and her hand slid up his chest, so her fingers could curl on his shoulders. Thank God he was getting somewhere. Hindi na niya kailangang tanungin pa ang kung nagugustuhan nito yun. Dahil sa tugon pa lamang nito ay sapat ng sagot. Rens, she whispered. Ang mga kamay nitong nasa balikat niya ay umangat upang ipadoob sa buhok niya. I'm not ready for this. He touched her lips in another brief kiss before he said in a sarcastic tone, All right, princess. I'll be sure to spend a lot of time getting you ready. What the heck? Diane breathed but her fingers put pressure against his head. Her head lifted and she touched her mouth against his. When she did, he growled his triumph into her already opened mouth. slanted his head and slit his tongue inside. She immediately emitted one of her sexy little noises, and his arousal jerked at the sound. And then they heard a banging at the door. Umangat ang ulo niya dahil patuloy sa pagkatok kung sino mang tao ang nasa labas ng bahay nito. "What the fuck?" he muttered. Diane's body had grown tense underneath him, and feeling it, gusto tuloy niyang sakalin ang sino mang kumakatok na iyon. "Would a reporter bang on the door like that?" he asked. "No," sagot nito. Tumigil ang pagkatok pagkatapos ay sunod-sunod ulit itong kumatok. "They don't know about my house." He stifled a frustrated growl. His heart-on was killing him, and then stopped in his progress to the door and ordered, "Don't move." Diane held her legs in mid-swing and asked, "What? Don't leave that bed, ha?" "Diane." Matagal siyang pinagmasdan nito pagkatapos ay humigang muli sa kama. "Okay." "I won't be a minute," anas niya, tumango ito. Then Rens, barefoot, bare-chested, and wearing only his pajama bottoms, stalked through the house, down the steps to the front door, and threw it open. Bumungad sa kanya ang kanyang pinsan at asawa nitong si Geraldine, or May for short. Nagulat pa ang mga ito nang makita siya, and for the lack of his clothes, si May ang unang nakarecover sa pagkagulat. "We came to surprise Diane and see how she's getting on with all this. You think you could let us in?" Kapatid nito si Diane, kakambal to be exact, but they were not identical. "Of course," he murmured, stepping back. Pumasok ang mga ito. While they did so, May shouted, "Diane, get your ass out here and give your twin sister a hug." Rens had made it to the landing in time to see his wife coming running out of the bedroom wearing her nightgown. Then he watched as she threw herself in her twin sister's arm. "Jeremy," she shouted happily, as Rens thought there was one thing good about Jeremy and James interrupting his determination to break through during her walls, and that was hearing Diane sounding happy for the first time in weeks. Pinanood niya ang mga itong nagyakapan. Chapter 17. Past. "Honey, you need to get laid." Diane flinched at showers. Overly loud voice in the gentleman's club of her cousin where they are. Kahit pa may kalakasan ang tugtog, ay maririnig pa rin ang boses nito. Napatingin tuloy siya sa kalapit na mesa. Napansin niyang tumigil sa pag-uusap at pag-inom ang mga kalalakihan doon. They were looking at them with a lot more interest than she cared for. She muttered an unladylike oath. Will Shower ever learn to keep her voice down? Worse, what will she do next? Strip naked and dance on the tabletops? For the millionth time, Diane wished Shower could get embarrassed, but her flamboyant, often extravagant, cousin didn't know the meaning of the word. Napatakip siya sa kanyang mukha at ginawa ang lahat ng makakaya upang hindi pansinin ang mga kuryosong tingin ng mga ito. An urge to slink beneath the table, followed by an even greater urge to kick her cousin, consumed her. "Why don't you speak a little louder, Shower?" she whispered, para marinig ng buong Pilipinas. Bumulalas ito ng tawa, inirapan niya ito. "Bakit hindi na lang ikaw?" She sighed. "You know, I would date if I could ever find a man worth shaving my legs for. But most are such a waste of time that I'd rather sit at home and be with my daughter or dance in my club." She gave her an irritated smirk. "Anong problema pala doon sa dinidate mo nung isang araw?" "Rolly? Nah, bad breath." "And the other one?" "Arman?" She gave her a disgusting look. "He told me that he was a lesbian, trapped in a man's body." Napabuntong hininga si Diane. "All right, but really, Shower, why are you suddenly so interested in my sex life?" Tumunga ito ng alak. "Because I have an idea." "What is it again, you bitch?" Natatawa niyang sabi dito. Shower giggled. "It takes one to know one, and you'll see." A few minutes later, Diane swiped her mouth with the back of her hand, and then giggled as her head buzzed from the wine. "Diane," Shower asked, her voice full of mirth, "are you tipsy?" Bumungis-ngis ulit siya. Maybe, just comfortably toasty. Tinawanan siya ng pinsan. Tumingin siya dito sa nanlalabong mga mata. Pilit pinupokus ang paningin sa pinsan. Ang babae naman ay tinanggal ang tali sa buhok niya. Are you willing to try a little experiment? Alright, if it will ease your pain, I'll do it, she said while giggling. Yeah, Shower said, grabbing her arm and pulling her to her feet. We need to go to my office. Okay, pero huwag mo akong papainumin ng nakakadiring bagay ha. Feeling like a kid at a sleepover who had lost a truth or dare contest, Diane allowed Shower to pull her to her office. Agad siyang inabutan nito ng paper bag. Para saan to? Malagihan niyang tanong. Suotin mo yan, utos nito. No, I'll help you. Tinulungan nga siya nitong isuot ang damit. It was a bunny suit. Nilamig tuloy siya sa suot niya. Pagkatapos, ay ipinatong nito sa ulo niya ang bunny ears na headband. Meow, Diane said in a mocky desire. You make me so hot and horny. I just can't wait to sink my teeth into that wonderful body of yours. Shower laugh. Stop it, this is serious. And you're a female rabbit, not a cat. Seriously? I only know one way to make this even more ridiculous. She looked back at her cousin. Lalabas ako sa isang malaking cake pagkatapos ay sasayaw. Ngumisi ito sa kanya na ikinatawa niya. Rens, what are you doing? Naieskandalong saad ni Diane. Wala siyang maalala sa nangyari kagabi. Ang tanging alam niya lang ay pinasayaw siya ni Shower. Pagkatapos ngayon ay nasa bahay na siya ng asawa. I should be the one asking you that. What were you doing last night? Singhan nito. Ngunit hindi siya hinayaang makasagot. Isinubsob nito ang mukha sa leeg niya at sinimulang halikan iyon. She moaned, then struggled to free herself. Ngunit hindi mapigilan ang asawa sa gusto nitong mangyari. Hinubad nito ang underwear niya. Rens! Sinakop ng mga labi nito ang tuktok ng kanyang dibdib, then tug on it. She yelled. She pushed at his shoulders, ignoring the cramps in her womb. The moisture sliding from her tormented depths. Nangingibabaw ang kanyang katawan kaysa sa isipan, at mukhang hindi niya kaya itong pigilan lalo na sa sitwasyon na to. Oh gosh! He clasped his hips, rocking her against the hard thigh, insinuated between hers. Bumaba ito. Hinahalikan ang madadaanan ng mga labi, kissing and nibbling its way to the south. Rens, she had to make him stop, didn't she? Tinulak niyang muli ang balikat nito, her head falling back against the pillow as she fought the weakening lust surging through her blood. Rens, I can't. Oh gosh. She arced in his arms, na ang dila nito ay pinadaanan sa kanyang pagkababae. Sinakop ng mga labi nito ang kanyang ibaba, sucking at her. Desperately, his cheeks flexing, his tongue rasping as she began to writhe. Pagkatapos ay umangat ito. Pinatalikod siya. She was only dimly aware of his hands loosening his chins. Hinubad nito iyon. Naramdaman niya ang mga kamay nito sa kanyang pang-upo. Hinihimas, gripping and parting her rounded cheeks as he moved her against him. Rens, shocked, nearly paralyzed by the needs flowing through her system, she could only whimper his name as he pressed her forward. He held her still, her shoulders to the pillow, her hips raised, opening her for him, giving him access. He didn't wait to claim what he believed was his. Hindi pa halos nakakahugot ng sapat na hangin si Diane nang maramdaman niya ang pagkalalaki nito sa entrance ng kanyang pagkababae. Hinawakan nito ang balakang niya. Binanggit ang kanyang pangalan bago pinasok ang pagkalalaki nito. Napasigaw siya sa pleasure, pain na nararamdaman nang ibaon nito ang ari nito hanggang sa dulo. Napamura si Rens almost brokenly, but he didn't stop. She writhed beneath him, terrified now by the fierce contractions of her womb, the force of his thrusts, the spiraling sensations colliding inside her. Nararamdaman niya ang matigas na bagay ng asawa sa loob niya, both protesting and welcoming the thick intruder, clumping on it as the sounds of moist, suckling flesh filled her head. Pakiramdam niya ay parang mamamatay siya. She wondered if she could really adjust to his body as he possessed her completely. She was too wet to arouse. Her juices coated her thighs. The sharp bite of pain should have drawn her back from her arousal, should have had her crying out in protest. But it only blended with the pleasure. Her world centered only on the deep, heavy thrusts of Rens inside her. Ang isang kamay nito ay nakahawak sa balikat niya at ang isa naman ay sa bewang. As he thrust hard and deep inside her sensitive depths, was nearly too much to bear. Ni hindi siya makagalaw, ni hindi siya makapag-isip ng maayos. She could only feel in thrust back. Lightning arc from her through her womb, sizzling beneath her skin, as it streaked through her body. Tila itinatapon siya pa itaas. Idinidikit siya papalapit sa pagkawasak. He pushed her headlong in her flight to ecstasy, his erection powering into her, feeling her, stroking the already blistering heat higher, hotter. Oh, she was half sobbing and half whispering as the sensation became so intense that she trembled. At bagaman gusto niyang mahati sa gitna, her senses were singing a song as old as time. Whatever the sensation, the power building furiously inside her, it would kill her. Then there was no breath left to scream, to cry. Her eyes widened, her vision blurred. "Fuck, Diane," he cried out as he gave the final thrust. She woke up with a start. Dahan-dahan siyang napabangon at kinapa ang cellphone na tumutunog na nasa nightstand. Tinignan niya ang oras, 7 a.m. Ilang oras din siyang nakatulog pagkatapos ng lovemaking nila ni Rens. Namula siya sa alaalang iyon. Sinagot niya ang tawag. "Hello? Who are you?" Mataray na tanong ng babae sa kabilang linya. Naunot ang kanyang noo at tinitigan ang cellphone. Sa asawa niya pala ito. "Sino to?" Pagkway tanong niya sa babae na nasa kabilang linya. Dinampot niya ang roba na nasa gilid ng kama at isinuot. "This is Shem." May pag-aalinlangan sa boses nito, pero ang katarayan ay nandoon pa rin. "Shem? Ang best friend niya?" "Wait, I know that voice. Si Diane ba to?" "What are you doing there?" Ang pagtataray ay nawala. Naging maamo ang boses nito. Napalunok si Diane. Iniisip kung sasabihin ba sa kaibigan ang totoo, pero naisip din niya na wala namang masama kung sabihin niya dahil mapagkakatiwalaan naman ito. "Yes," she shuddered. Binuksan niya ang pintuan sa guest room sa baba at lumabas. Hindi niya alam kung bakit doon siya dinala ni Rens. "We're lovers," she half lied. Napasinghap ang kaibigan niya at katahimikan ang namayani habang tinatalunton niya ang daan patungong sala. "And I thought sila ni Lizzie ang lovers," biglang sabi nito. Napatigil siya sa paglalakad. What did she say? Pardon? "I saw them kissing the other day." Ibinuka niya ang bibig upang magsalita, ngunit napatikom din nang may makita siyang pamilyar na tao na dumaan. Nanlaki ang kanyang mga mata. Si Lizzie iyon. Kumabog ang dibdib niya. Bigla siyang kinabahan. Anong ginagawa nito dito sa bahay ni Rens? Umagang umaga? "Diane?" Tawag ni Shem sa kanya sa ikalawang pagkakataon. Hindi niya pinansin iyon at sinundan ang babae. Umakyat ito sa second floor at nang makita niya itong pumasok sa loob ng kwarto ng asawa, ay sunod-sunod ang tahip ng kanyang dibdib. lalo siyang kinabahan. Naririnig na niya ang tibok ng puso niya. Sunod-sunod ang kanyang paghinga. Sumilip siya sa nakaawang na pinto. Bigla siyang napasapo sa bibig upang pigilan ang singhap na tumakas. Muntik na niyang mabitawan ang hawak niyang cellphone. Sumandal siya sa gilid ng pader. Pagkatapos ay bumaba at tumiretso sa CR. Nilak niya iyon at doon paimpit na nag-iiyak. Hindi niya mapigilan ang pag-uunahan ng mga luha sa pagpatak. Nakita niya ang asawa at si Lizzie, and they were kissing, kay sakit niyon sa paningin. Tila hinahati ang kanyang puso sa nakita. Tila pinanawan siya ng kulay. Oh gosh, at isipin pang na-realize niyang mahal na niya ang asawa. Diane, are you alright? Tanong ni Shem mula sa kabilang linya. Nakalimutan pala niyang patayin ang cellphone. I'm sorry, sinikap niyang pigilin ang paghikbi. Inilabag niya ang cellphone sa gilid ng lababo. Pagkatapos ay binuksan ang gripo at naghilamos upang mawala ang pamumula ng mga mata. Kinuha niya ang tuwalya at nagpunas ng mukha. Pagkway kinuha ulit ang cellphone. Pasensya na. Rens is a womanizer, anito. Napahikbi ulit siya. Present. Kinabukasan noon ay tinawagan niya ang kanyang manager upang pumayag sa kontratang sinasabi nito sa ibang bansa. Umalis siya nang hindi nagpapaalam sa asawa. Wala siyang paki kung sundan siya nito o ipagkalat ang sekreto niya. But none of those happened. Iyon ang ipinagtataka ni Diane. Diane, untag sa kanya ni Jeremy. She cleared her mind with the memories. You were miles away again. Tinanong ko lang kung bakit mo tinatago sa amin ang lahat. Yumuko siya at nagsimulang ipaliwanag dito ang lahat, hanggang sa pumayag siya na ikasal sila ni Rens. Tumango ang kambal. Ang simpatya ay nakikita sa mga mata nito. Pagkuha hinaplos nito ang buhok niya. I'm sorry if I was a bitch before. Umiling siya at nangingiting sinabi. Alam ko namang in love ka kay James. Namula ang kanyang kakambal sa sinabi niya. Then she cleared her throat. Akala ko talaga kay James ka may gusto dati. Oh, I was just playing with you. Yes, I like James. But it was just a brotherly affection. I know that now. Oo nga pala, kamusta ang therapy mo? The nightmares had all but stopped. Nakatulong ang therapy. Natuwa siya sa balita ng kakambal. Ang tinutukoy nito ay ang therapy nito upang mawala ang mga bangungot nito dahil sa paninisi sa sarili sa pagkamatay ng kanilang mama. Magpahinga ka na, duktong nito. Tumango siya at humiga na sa kama. Everything will be alright, dagdag pa nito bago siya pumikit. Yeah, hopefully. She's still asleep. Jeremy whispered. I've closed the door. Tumango si Rens at uminom ng kape. Years ago, she fell down the stairs. Nanlaki ang mga mata nito. You won't mention it to her. Why not? It happened when she was in America. Wala ako doon at buntis siya ng mga panahon na iyon. He watched the blood drain from Jeremy's face and he softened his tone. She's not handling the loss of our child well, kahit na napatagal nang nangyari yun. Her eyes grew wider. Your child? Our child, yes, he replied. Oh my God, bulong nito na hindi makapaniwala. She studied him, her eyes soft. Are you okay? His reply was instant and honest. No. He watched as she closed her eyes, and he felt his gut get tight at witnessing the pain in stark relief as it settled on her features. Are you alright? Balik tanong niya dito. Nagmulat ito ng mga mata at binikyan siya ng malungkot na ngiti bago umiling. Kung ano man ang nararamdaman ng kakambal ko, happiness or despair, I feel it right along with her. His jaw got hard and Jeremy came forward, put her hand to his arm and continued in a quiet voice. I hope everything will be alright someday. Tumango si Rens. He didn't have it in him to answer mainly because his chest had tightened along with his gut, and he was finding it more important at that juncture to focus on breathing. Jeremy got closer and her voice deep quieter when she advised, don't let her pull away. I won't, he vowed, and it was indeed a vow. His words were low and they vibrated. Upon hearing them, he saw her eyes register surprise, then they warmed. The sad smile disappeared. A hopeful one took its place and she squeezed his arm. Binitiwan siya nito at umupo sa harapan niya. Do you want some coffee? Tanong niya dito pagkalipas ng ilang sandali. Later, James came in carrying groceries, and Rens went out to retrieve the rest. Later still, nagising na rin si Diane at nakisalo sa kanila sa kusina. Shortly after, James and Jeremy made their way to the door. Diane followed them to the landing, her expression confused. Akala ko dito kayo magstay. Umiling ang kakambal nito. Marami pang kailangang asukasuhin si James sa farm. Pagkatapos niyon ay umalis na ang mga ito. I'll need... Rens slid his hand along her waist, pulling her to his side and interrupted her. If you need to go anywhere, sweetheart, I'll take you. Tumingin ito sa kanya. Dark circles under her eyes, even though she'd slept a good deal the past few days. And she mumbled, but... His fingers gave her a squeeze at her waist and kissed her temple. Chapter 18. Nagbihis ka after lunch, bungad ng asawa ni Diane na si Rens, pagkapasok niya sa kusina. Nagluluto ito ng tanghalian, wearing only a white shirt and a boxer. Ang muscle nito sa katawan ay nagtetipi na dahil sa suot na puting kamiseta. Napalunok siya. Tila ba kay sarap himasin at pisilin yun? Hindi ba at ganoon ang ginagawa niya sa tuwing sila ay nagniniig? Diane blushed at her thoughts. Sweetheart, ani ng asawa. Nakalapit na pala ito at nakatunghay sa kanya. Amoy na amoy niya ang sabon niya na ginamit nito at ang masculine scent ng katawan nito. Bakit ba iba ang epekto ng amoy ng sabon niya dito? Princess, ulit nito. Their eyes met and locked. Sa kanya ay puno ng pagtataka samantalang dito ay hindi niya mabasa. Amusement? And there was something more. Was it tenderness? Napailing siya sa sarili. Yes? Your mind is miles away. Diane blushed again. I'm sorry, what was it again? Sinapo nito ang dalawang pisngi niya. Are you alright? She looked to the left, to the right, then to her husband. Yes I am. Hindi ito nagsalita. Pinagmamasdan lamang siya. Pagkatapos ay hinaplos nito ang magkabilang pisngi niya at bigla na lamang siyang hinalikan sa noo na ikinapitlag niya. Rens, ano yung sinasabi mo kanina? Gusto sana niyang itanong kung para saan ang halik na iyon. Pero iba ang lumabas sa kanyang bibig. Rens smiled down at her. Ang sabi ko, magbihis ka after lunch. Bakit? She was perfectly fine with her clothes. Pajamas. Hindi naman siya aalis ng bahay. Dahil wala pa naman siyang kontrata ngayon sa VMC. At okay lang naman sa papa niya at sa manager niyang si Rez. May pupuntahan tayo. Saan? It's a secret. A playful smile on his lips. Inilapit nito ang mukha sa kanya. Konti na lang ay maglalapat na ang kanilang mga labi. Ngunit may naamoy siyang hindi maganda. Amoy sunog? She cringed. Umangat bigla ng ulo si Rens. Oh fuck, mabilis siya nitong binitawan at tinungo ang niluluto. Diane giggled. Ito ang kauna-unahan niyang tawa sa linggong iyon. And thanks to her husband. Matapos kumain ng tanghalian na nasunog ang ulam ay naligo na siya at nagbihis ng pangalis. Saan ba tayo pupunta, Rens? Ikalimang tanong na niya iyon sa asawa. Ngunit ang lagi nitong sinasagot ay, secret. She rolled her eyes heavenward. Do I know this place? Tumango ito, may ngiti sa labi. Nakatuon ang atensyon nito sa pagmamaneho. Ano naman kaya ang balak ng asawa niya? Saan kaya siya nito dadalhin? Isang lugar na alam niya? Nakatulog siya sa kakaisip kung saan ba siya dadalhin ng asawa. Isang tapik sa pisngi ang nagpagising sa kanya. Kinusot niya ang mga mata at pinatmasdan ang gwapong mukha ng asawa. Ang kulay tsokolate nitong mga mata ay nakatitig sa kanya. She felt like she was sinking down into their depths. Oh, how she loved those dark chocolate brown eyes. Diane, anito, his voice was deep, low and rich, na para bang galing sa ilalim ng lupa. Andito na tayo? Tanong niya at nagunat. Lumingalinga siya sa paligid at nanlaki ang mga mata. Andito tayo sa bahay mo? Let's go home, Rens, nagpapanik niyang sabi. This is our home, but... Protesta niya ngunit pinutol ng asawa. Pero kaya tayo nandito ay para turuan kitang lumangoy sa swimming pool. But, no buts, Diane, he said firmly. Remember that day when you almost drowned? So now, I'll teach you how to swim. But she was pushed into the pool that day. Ngunit hindi niya sinabi iyon sa asawa at sinarili na lamang. Nagdalawang isip siya kung papayag ba o hindi. Pero wala namang masama, diba? Andiyan naman ang asawa upang alalayan siya. May pagkaalinlangan siyang tumango. Rens smiled back at her. Binuksan nito ang pinto ng sasakyan. Umikot at binuksan ang kanya. Wala akong swimsuit, anya dito. Sinundan niya ito sa pagpasok sa loob. Medyo nag-alinlangan pa siya. At pilit na isinisiksik ang alaala sa pamamahay na iyon sa sulok ng kanyang puso. Meron sa kwarto natin, sabi ni Rens. Dumiretso ito sa second floor. Hindi na niya ito sinundan dahil ayaw niyang makita ang kwarto na iyon. Babalik lamang ang masakit na alaalang itinatago niya. Hinintay niya ang asawa at nang makababa inabot nito sa kanya ang kulay pulang two-piece swimsuit niya. Sinuot niya lamang iyon ng isang beses sa isang photoshoot. Nakakunot ang noo nito. Bakit hindi ka sumunod? Napalunok si Diane at umiling. Dito na ako sa baba magpapalit, ani at nagtungo sa isang guest room. I'll see you at the pool, rinig pa niyang habol nito. Pagkatapos magpalit ay dumiretso nga siya sa pool area. Nandoon na ito sa swimming pool at basa na ang buhok nito. Diane fidgeted. Tila ba ay gusto niyang mag-back out. Where's your maid? Nasa bakasyon ngayon si Isay. Sumisid ang asawa niya at nang makarating sa edge ng pool, kung nasaan siya, ay inilahad nito ang dalawang kamay. Come. But, don't be afraid, Diane. Andito naman ako. Hindi kita hahayaang malunod. Lumapit siya kay Rens at hinawakan ang mga kamay nito. Umupo siya sa edge ng pool. Binitawan siya nito at hinawakan sa bewang. Then slowly put her in the pool. Mabilis siyang napakapit sa leeg nito. Rens chuckled. Nakukyutan ito sa inaasal ni Diane. Para kasi siyang bata na takot sa tubig. Although takot naman talaga siya sa tubig na malalim. Magkadikit ang kanilang katawan. Nagkadikit ang kanilang katawan. Lumunok siya dahil sa init niyon. Diane stared at his dark brown eyes. Ilang minuto silang nagkatitigan at namalayan niya na lamang na naghahalikan na sila. His lips taking hers, his tongue plunging forcefully into her mouth. He tasted so good. Eagerly, her tongue mated his. Napaungol ang kanyang asawa. Ang pagturo dito kung paano lumangoy ay nakalimutan. Napalitan ng makamundong pagnanasa. Her hands gripped his hair, holding him to her as his mouth devoured her. Lips and tongue mated with hers. Hard, hungry. Ang kanyang pagtugon ay nagpalapit lamang dito. Pinalalim pa ang mga halik. His arm went around her, blunt nails scraping along her back as she arced to him, her almost nude body twisting closer, desperate to mate every cell in their bodies together. His hard chest, with its fine sparkling water rasped her nipples, engorging them to the point of pain. Powerful thighs parted hers. Ang isang kamay nito na nasa likod niya ay kumilos patungong abdomen niya, habang hinahalikan pa rin siya. Dinilaan nito ang ibabang labi niya, kinagat, drew her tongue in his mouth, sucked at it before teaching her to do the same. Ang kamay nitong nasa abdomen niya ay bumaba, stroking its way to her parted thighs. Water slashed at them pero hindi niya iyon namamalayan. Kamuntikan pang mapasigaw si Diane nang ipasok ni Rens ang dalawang daliri sa kanyang pagkababae. She saw the grimace of pleasure, the raw lust that transformed his face. Sa pagkamangha niya ay inangat nito ang kamay. She whimpered as he took them into his mouth, his eyes darkening on a high ecstasy as he tasted her. His lashes lowered, becoming heavy with sexuality. His lips were fuller, his face tense, tight with the needs that surged through his body as well. "You taste so sweet, Diane," his rough whisper sounded torture. Napasinghap siya sa sinabi nito. Nanlalaki ang mga mata. She licked her lips, panting as he was watching her heatedly, his eyes glittering, savage and hot. "Say the word for me, baby," he said. "Let me devour you." She opened her mouth to answer him, pero naunahan siya ng isang busina mula sa labas ng gate ng bahay ni Rens. Napapitlag sila pareho. Rens muttered a curse. Chapter 19. Nagkatitigan sila Diane at Rens, walang kumukurap, walang kumikilos. Parehas nilang habol ang kanilang hininga. Tanging ang huni ng ibon lamang ang maririnig at ang pag-alon ng tubig sa pool. Maya-maya pa ay inangat siya ng asawa sa edge ng pool. Pagkatapos ay inangat nito ang sarili mula sa tubig. Inilahad nito ang kamay para tulungan siyang makatayo. Inabot niya iyon, kinuha ni Rens ang tuwalya na nasa chair lounge at pinunasan siya pagkatapos ay tinapis sa kanya. "Shower then get dressed, may bisita ata tayo." Hinalikan siya nito sa noo at naglakad na patungong gate. Di naman niya ang kanyang noo, nagtataka kung bakit siya hinalikan ng asawa doon sa pangalawang pagkakataon. Huminga siya ng malalim at inalis sa isipan iyon. Pagkatapos ay mabilis siyang nagtungo sa banyo ng guest room na pinagbihisan niya kanina. Hindi pa halos nabubuksan ang shower, ay bumukas ang pintuan ng banyo. Iniluwain niyon si Rens, still wearing his wet boxer. Mamasa-masa rin ang buhok nito at ang katawan. "Bakit andito ka?" tanong niya nang makalapit sa kanya. Hindi niya pinansin ang tanong nito at iba ang sinabi. "Sino ang bisita?" Nagkibit balikat ito. Hinawakan siya sa magkabilang balikat at ginawaran ng halik ang kanyang batok. Shivers ran down her back. Inangat nito ang ulo. Walang bisita. Pagkapunta ko sa gate ay wala namang sasakyan o tao. Baka nagkamali lang. Pagkatapos ay unti-unti nitong tinanggal ang strap ng bra niya. "Rens?" "Shh." He turned her around to him. Then he nudged her chin with his fingers to get her to look at him. Yumuko ang ulo nito at dinampian siya ng halik sa mga labi. "Let me devour you, princess. Say that you want me." "No," he kissed her again. "Say it, Diane." "Rens." But it was more breathless this time. Tuluyan na nitong natanggal ang kanyang saplot sa taas at basta na lang itinapon sa sahig. He nudged her up against the wall and kissed her hard. His mouth covered hers in a crushing possessive kiss. His hands framed her face and guided her head to a better slant his mouth over hers. His thigh moved between her long legs so he could bring his body intimately against hers. She moaned as he cupped her left breast, kneading it slowly. He lifted his head and stared down at her. Pakiramdam niya ay nalalambot ang kanyang mga binti. "Now, Diane, say my name again." She licked her lips slowly, then breathed his name. "Rens." Ang kanyang mga kamay ay napunta sa mga balikat nito at hinila ito pabalik. Then he shocked her by bending down and scooping her up in his arms. Before she could say anything, he kissed her again, fumbled for the door handle, and laying her down on top of the bed. Diane watched as he started to strip off his boxers and raised herself up on her elbows to watch him in fascination, but he stopped. She darted her eyes up to his to see them smoldering, and a lazy, sexy smile dripped across his face as he started undoing them again. Ang kanyang mga mata ay naglakbay sa katawan nito. Namula ang kanyang mukha, pero patuloy sa pagbaba ang kanyang paningin hanggang sa matignan niya ang pagkalalaki nito. Nanlaki ang kanyang mga mata. Gosh, he was so hard, so angry. The mushroom head was almost purple. Lumapit ito sa kanya. Hinubad ang suot niyang panty at itinapon na lang kung saan. He bent and then he took one of her glorious nipples in his mouth, teasing the tip with his tongue. She arced towards him and moaned. Di naman nito ang isang boobs niya. Rens wanted her to beg, and when he moved his attention lower, she did. Ni hindi nila namalayan ang dahan-dahang pagsara ng pintuan ng guest room. Kumuyom ang kanyang mga kamay at madaling lumabas ng bahay ni Rens. Hindi ito maaari. Hindi ito maaari. Paulit-ulit niyang sinasambit sa isip iyon at sunod-sunod na napamura. One tear slipped and she wiped it angrily using the back of her hand. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts seeing them together, let alone seeing them fucking each other. Bakit ba kasi bumalik ang babae? Bakit pa bumalik si Diane? Akala niya ay naitaboy na niya ito noon na hindi nito namamalayan, hoping against hope na hindi na ito babalik at maging kanya si Rens. Pero hindi ito nangyari dahil kahit wala ang babae, ay hindi tumitingin sa iba si Rens at ngayong nandito na ito, magkasundo na ang dalawa. Padabog niyang binuksan ang gate. Hindi na nag-abalang isarado iyon. Tinungo niya ang gilid ng bahay nito at pinatunog ang sasakyan na nagtatago sa gilid ng pader. Binuksan niya ang kotse, pumasok sa loob at pinaandar ng mabilis paalis doon. She cursed again. Kinabahan na siya nang bumusina siya at walang sumagot. Kahit sinong katulong pagkatapos ay nang tinawagan niya sa cellphone si Rens at Diane. Sabi na nga ba niya, may kutob na siyang magkasama ang dalawa dahil hindi man lang nagparamdam si Rens at lalong-lalo na si Diane. Umigting ang kanyang mga panga. Ginawa na niya ang lahat. Tinulak niya ito sa swimming pool dahil alam niyang hindi ito marunong lumangoy at para mapahiya ito. Pagkatapos ay tinulak niya ito sa hagdanan sa mansyon ng lolo ni Rens, hoping that she'd be unconscious and bleeding. Pero ang gaga ay masyadong matibay. Konting galos lamang ang tinamo. Humigpit ang hawak niya sa manibela. Halos mamuti na ang kanyang kamao. Ano bang dapat niyang gawin para mawala na ang dalaga? Para mawala na talaga si Diane sa buhay nila ni Rens. If she could only kill that woman with her very own hands. Napatigil siya sa kanyang iniisip. Then an evil smile slowly curved on her lips. Bakit hindi? Bakit nga ba hindi? Humalakhak siya dahil sa kanyang iniisip. Kung may makakakita man sa kanya ay iisipin ng mga iyon na nababaliw siya. But she didn't care. Natutuwa siya sa takbo ng kanyang utak. Kaya niya yon. Kayang-kaya niyang patayin ito. Babalikan niya ang mga ito at papatayin niya si Diane. Unti-unti, dahan-dahan, walang pagmamadali. She'd take the time in the world to kill her, slowly and painfully. At pagkatapos noon, siya na ang mamahalin ni Rens. And again, she let out a scornful. Chapter 20. Pumapasok na ang dilim sa silid ng magising si Rens. Nasa guest room pa rin sila ni Diane. Pinagmamasdan niya ang natutulog na asawa sa mga bisik niya. Tenderly, dinampian niya ito ng halik sa noo. He'd worn her out by waking her again to fulfill his savage need. Kahit nga ba ilang beses nilang ginagawa iyon, ay hindi pa rin siya nagsasawa sa asawa. Never in his life did he desire a woman so much as he did her. Dito lang talaga kay Diane. Ngumiti siya. Nilaro ng daliri ang kontur ng mukha nito. Hinawi niya ang hibla ng buhok nito na dumadaos-dos sa pisngi. Smiling, he thought, Sleeping Beauty couldn't hold a candle to his wife. Bigla ang reaksyon ng katawan niya, ngunit hinayaan niya iyon. Kung maaari lamang na mabuntis ito ay paniguradong siya na ang pinakamasayang lalaki sa buong mundo dahil hindi na talaga ito makakawala pa sa kanya. Just when he thought he couldn't get any harder, he stiffened like granite, thinking about her having his child. It would be beautiful, pero napailing din siya. Hindi na ito maaaring magkaanak. Still, hindi na niya papakawalan pa ang asawa. Bago niya pa makilala ito noon ay napakadami niyang babae. Kaliwat kanan at oo. Isa siyang babaero at easygoing. Pero noong nakilala na niya ito ay iisang babae na lang ang gusto niya. At ang asawa niya yun. He hadn't had a woman when Diane left. There had been times when he thought about it. But he knew it wouldn't be an easy fix. Kahit pa nga ba gaano siya kagalit dito sa pag-alis nito. He couldn't and didn't want another woman. Not that there wasn't offers, because there were plenty. Plus the fact that no one knows his status. Looking at his wife now, with the moonlight streaming through the windows, draping over her perfect body told him exactly why no other woman would do. Ayaw niyang pagtaksilan ang asawa, at tanging ito lamang ang hanap ng katawan niya. Kaya hindi niya pinagsisisihang ito ang babaeng napili niya upang maging Mrs. Lawrence Delgado. Aminin man niya o hindi ay vulnerable ngayon si Diane. Pero gagamitin niya ang pagkakataon na iyon upang ma-breakdown ang pader na hinarang nito sa kanilang dalawa at upang malaman niya kung ano ba ang nararamdaman nito sa kanya. Bumaba ang kamay niya sa malambot na balikat nito. Pagkatapos ay inalis ang comforter na nagtatakip sa katawan nito. Nagpatuloy ang paglalakbay ng kanyang kamay sa bewang ng asawa, across her flat belly to the triangle of hair between her thighs. The moonlight from the window highlighted her exquisite curves, the narrowing of her small waist, and flare of her perfectly rounded hips. Kahit pa natutulog ito ay napakaganda pa rin ni Diane. Nang ipasok niya ang daliri dito ay napamulat ito agad ng mga mata. It dilated then focused on him. With her awakening came a flood of moisture over his fingers. Almost instantly she was ready for him. He couldn't ask for a better response, and watching her lips part in a silent gasp as he continued to tease her made him instantly hard. Rens, anito sa pagitan ng paghahabol ng hininga. He couldn't help himself. He really loved this woman. She responded to him like she was made specifically for his desires. Inalis niya ang daliri sa loob nito. Itinulak upang mapahiga sa kama pagkatapos ay pinaibabawan niya ito. Sweetheart, ani Rens na namamaos na tinig. Inabot ang kamay ng asawa at itinaas. Suddenly, sweetly, so sweetly, he was inside of her. She trembled, gasped, and soft-cried as he sank deeply within her habang binubulong niya ang pangalan ni Diane. Then his movements became more urgent and demanding. His wife, his beautiful wife, groaning against his mouth. He felt himself building for a climax, and so was she by the lifting. She was doing under him, meeting his hips in time with intense noises she was making. Mapusok niya itong hinalikan, kasunod niyon ay ang paggana ng kanyang kamay sa katawan nito. It was like forever, bago nila pinakawalan ang mga labi ng asawa. Tell me you love me, bulong niya sa labi ng babae. Patuloy pa rin ang paggalaw niya sa ibabaw nito. Napasinghap ito at nagmulat ng mga mata. Tell me you love me, ulit niya. Plunging deeper, causing her to release a loud gasp of pleasure. She gasped as he thrust again. No! Again. Oh gosh, tell me, untag niya. Damn you, I love you. She threw back her head and said his name as she reached her pleasure. He released a loud gasp of pleasure. He grabbed her hips and thrust hard, and deep growling his own release, and thrust again, holding himself there to feel the pulsing of his shaft, releasing his seed deep in her. Then he collapsed on her, breathing heavily into her shoulder. Ngayon ay alam na niyang mahal din siya ng asawa. It was one more thing he had on her that would hold her to him from now on. Pero bago siya umamin sa asawa na mahal din niya ito, ay bukas na bukas din ay bibili siya ng singsing at magpo-propose dito. This time, it was for real. Diane felt intensely vulnerable after her passionate confession. Alam na ni Rens ang nararamdaman niya. Ginamit nito ang katawan niya upang pagtaksilan ang kanyang emosyon. Nothing was safe from him. Now she was raw and stripped down to her bare self. Gusto niyang maiyak sa sulok o magtago upang hindi nito makita ang kanyang luha. Then she felt the bed shift as he got up and went to the bathroom. Oo, mahal niya ang asawa. Ngunit kahit pakunwari, ay hindi man lamang sinabi nito na mahal din siya. Masakit isipin na hanggang doon na lamang ang worth niya. Hanggang kama na lamang. Tumulo ang kanyang mga luha. Bakit nga ba niya hinayaang gawin ng asawa sa kanya iyon? Bakit nga ba bumalik pa siya dito? Oh yes, the annulment. But he was persistent. Ayaw nito ng annulment. Para saan? Para may paglalaruan ito? Kung ayaw nito ng annulment, ay bahala ito sa buhay nito. Dahil bukas na bukas ay babalik siya ng Amerika at doon na lamang maninirahan. Hindi na siya magpapakita dito. By the time Rens came back to bed, she was able to stop the tears. She didn't want him to know that he broke her. Naramdaman niya ang braso ni Rens na yumakap sa kanya. Pagkatapos ay ang kalmadong paghinga nito na nagsasabing, tulog na ang asawa. At sa ikalawang pagkakataon ay tumulong muli ang kanyang luha. Are you really sure na hindi ka na pipirma ng kontrata? Tanong ng manager niyang si Riz. Andito siya sa VMC at kinakausap ito. Umiling si Diane at ninitian ito. Ngunit hindi iyon umabot sa kanyang mga mata. Nope, I think I'm tired. Gusto kong mag-settle sa Amerika at doon bumuo ng pamilya. Oh man, sayang ka, Diane. He patted her arms. Nasabi mo na ba sa big boss? Hindi pa. Sasabihin ko palang kaso wala raw siya dito. Naku, balikan mo bukas at baka nandito na yun. She opened her mouth to say something, but a phone ring cut her off. Kay Riz iyon. Sagutin ko muna tong pagpapaalam nito. Aalis na ako, Riz. Hindi na ako magtatagal, may pupuntahan pa ako. Sabi niya, tumango lamang ito. Lumabas na siya ng building at dumiretso sa underground parking lot ng VMC. Napalingon si Diane nang makarinig siya ng yabag mula sa likuran. Madilim. Kinabahan agad siya. Sandali siyang huminto at pinapakiramdaman ang kapaligiran. Wala naman siyang marinig na yabag o kahit na tunog ng pagbukas ng sasakyan. Tanging tunog lamang ng mga sasakyan sa labas ang naririnig niya at ang kaunting liwanag na nagmumula doon. Umiling siya, maaaring guni-guni niya lamang iyon. Mabilis siyang nagtungo sa kanyang sasakyan. She opened the door of her car and that was when someone grabbed her shoulder at ang isang kamay na tumakip sa kanyang bibig. Nagpanik si Diane at lalo pang kinabahan. She struggled to free herself. Siniko niya ito sa tagiliran but the person only grunted at nakaramdam siya ng parang kinagat ng langgam sa kanyang leeg. Kasunod niyon ay ang pagbitaw nito sa kanya. What? Nanlabo ang kanyang mga mata. Pakiramdam niya ay nawawalan siya ng lakas. Nanghihinang tinukod ni Diane ang kamay sa bubong ng sasakyan. Ngunit dumulas iyon at unti-unti siyang bumagsak sa lupa. Hindi niya nakita kung sino man ang taong humawak sa kanya dahil nagdilim na ang kanyang paningin at nawalan na siya ng malay. Epilogue. Rens? Don Roberto murmured. Tinapik nito ang balikat ni Rens. They stood together for a while to free herself. Siniko niya ito sa tagiliran but the person only grunted at nakaramdam siya ng parang kinagat ng langgam sa kanyang leeg. Kasunod niyon ay ang pagbitaw nito sa kanya. What? Nanlabo ang kanyang mga mata. Pakiramdam niya ay nawawalan siya ng lakas. Nanghihinang tinukod ni Diane ang kamay sa bubong ng sasakyan. Ngunit dumulas iyon at unti-unti siyang bumagsak sa lupa. Hindi niya nakita kung sino man ang taong humawak sa kanya dahil nagdilim na ang kanyang paningin at nawalan na siya ng malay. Epilogue. Rens? Don Roberto murmured. Tinapik nito ang balikat ni Rens. They stood together for a while before he felt his grandfather move away to give him space. Iginala niya ang paningin sa waiting hall. Nandoon si James kasama ang asawa nitong si Jeremy. Nakatayo ang mga ito at tahimik na naghihintay. Kasama ng mga ito ang ama nila Diane at ang iba pang mga kamag-anak. Jeremy had finally dried her tears, but her face was pale, her eyes red-rimmed. Nasa kabilang banda naman ang kanyang pamilya, samantalang siya ay nasa isang sulok. Tahimik na nakatayo, ang mga braso ay nakahalukip-kip. A scowl settled in deep on his expression. He was dying inside. Noong 10 years old si Diane, nahulog siya noon sa pool, sa pinakamalalim na parte. Kaya simula noon ay nagkaroon siya ng phobia sa malalalim na tubig. Dinig niyang kwento ni Vince. Paos ang boses nito. Naaalala mo ba yung Jeremy? Tumingin sa sahig si Jeremy at saka tumango. Buti na lang at nailigtas siya noon ng mama mo. But she didn't cry because Diane is a fighter. Yumugyug ang balikat ni Jeremy sa tahimik na pag-iyak. Humarap ito kay James. Agad namang niyakap ng lalaki ang asawa at inalo. The air of grief that hung over the waiting area was a silent testament to the love they all had for his wife. Tumingala si Rens. Kumurap siya bago muling yumuko at titigan ang sahig. Minasahe niya ang kanyang batok. Then out of nowhere, he felt a hand sliding around him. It was his younger sister, Amy Kane Delgado. Inakbayan niya ito. She'll be okay, bulong nito. Ilang buntong hininga ang pinakawalan niya bago nagsalita. Okay. She'll be alright. Patuloy nitong bulong. Gave her brother a squeeze. She knew he'd already lost hope when he didn't squeeze back. In that moment, the doctor stepped into the waiting area. Lahat sila ay napalingon at lumapit dito. She's still alive, the doctor stated. His expression drawn and exhausted after the hours spent in surgery. But, Rens injected. He was dying to hear the bat dahil alam niyang may kadugtong pa iyon. But the next 24 hours will be the most difficult for her, he said somberly. She lost a lot of blood. I've seen many people survive worse wounds, he stated, his voice resonating with strength and hope. I've seen much weaker women survive worse. Right now, her survival depends upon her and her will to live. Tumango siya. A hollow feeling started to take over him, and no matter how hopeful he tried to be, inside he was devastated. Ililipat namin siya sa private room, anito. Jesus, he needed a smoke, he thought, pulling into the parking lot of the convenience store. He started smoking more and more since Diane's surgery. 3 days, 3 araw na itong nasa ospital at hindi pa gumigising. Para bang wala na itong buhay at ang life support system na lang ang bumubuhay dito. Paulit-ulit niyang sinasabi sa sarili na hindi niya dapat ito iniwan o hinayaang umalis ng bahay. And the look on her twin sister's face just added to his guilt kahit pa hindi naman niya nito siya sinisisi. Hindi mo kasalanan iyon, Rens, sabi ni James sa kanya, which didn't make him feel any better. If anything, it made him feel worse. His family offered him sedatives to help him sleep, but he refused. He wasn't sleeping or anything or eating much because of the guilt and worry he had for Diane. Hindi rin siya relihiyosong tao, ngunit araw-araw niyang pinagdarasal na sana makasurvive ang asawa at mabuhay. Bumaba siya ng sasakyan at pumasok sa loob ng convenience store upang bumili ng sigarilyo. Ni hindi pa siya halos nakakapasok nang tuluyan ang tumunog ang kanyang cellphone. Hindi niya sana iyon sasagutin kaso ay ang kapatid niya iyon. Ems? Nagising na siya, kuya. Anito sa tahimik na boses. He froze, then cursed and thanked the God at nagmamadaling umalis doon. Naramdaman ni Diane ang isang kamay na humaplos sa kanyang leeg. She opened her eyes. Ren's handsome face was all she could see. Puno ng whiskers ang mukha nito. His eyes troubled and he looked older. Weirdly, except his hand dropped light at her throat. She felt nothing, not a thing. Welcome back, sweetheart. Gumagaralgal ang boses nito. Pinag-alala mo ako, ang lahat. What happened to Shem? She croaked. Tuyo ang kanyang lalamunan. Ilang oras ba siyang nakatulog? Pakiramdam niya ay ilang araw ang itinulog niya. She's madly in love with you, Rens. Kaya niya nagawa iyon. Siya rin ang tumulak sa akin sa pool at sa hagdanan ng mansion niyo. She said almost in hysterical distress. Hindi ko alam na magagawa niya iyon. She was my best friend and she had been good to me ever since. I know. Tahan nito sa kanya. She'd been taken care of. Don't worry, baby. Hindi ka na niya magagalaw pa. Hinaplos nito ang pisngi niya. Then he said gently, almost in a whisper. Pain lays in his voice. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko kapag nawala ka, Diane. Baka nga sinundan pa kita. You're my heart, my soul, and my better half, Diane. I can't bear to lose you. Nanlaki ang kanyang mga mata at hindi makapaniwalang tumingala sa asawa. What are you talking about? What about Lizzie? Lizzie? Nagtatakang tanong nito. Wasn't she your lover? What? Bulalas nito. Lizzie was never been my lover. Ha? Totoo ba ang sinasabi mo? Hindi makapaniwalang saad niya. Iyon ang paniwalaan mo dahil iyon ang totoo. Inangat nito ang kamay niya at ginawara ng isang mabining halik. She's a lesbian. Kahit itanong mo pa sa kanya. Diane gasped hard. Relief and guilt filled her. Subalit gusto niyang linawin ang lahat. Sa kwarto natin, you two kissed. Bigla itong napabulalas ng tawa. Nagtataka namang tumingin siya sa asawa. Nang makarecover ito sa pagtawa, ay nagsalita siya. Iyan ba ang dahilan kung bakit ka umalis at nagtungong Amerika? Hindi nito hinintay ang sagot niya. Oh shit, I have a jealous wife, amuse na saad nito. You know, princess, you should have asked me. Kaya niya ako hinalikan noon, ay dahil greetings yun sa Amerika. And take note, she was the one who kissed me, not I to her. Naaaliw na umiling ito. She had actually had a thing to you. Ang kaso ay hindi ka pumapatol sa isang tulad niya. Then she found out about us and asked for an apology. Paniwalaan mo ako. Kung hindi man ay maaari kang magtanong sa kanya. Kahit kailanman ay walang namagitan sa aming dalawa. Sumeryoso ito. Alam mo bang nagalit ako sa'yo nang umalis ka? Dahil noong umalis ka, pati ang puso ko ay sinama mo. Umawang ang kanyang mga labi. Kung hindi lang ako pinakiusapan ng papa mo, ay baka sinugod na kita sa Amerika at binalik dito sa Pilipinas kahit ayaw mo. May nabuong luha sa kanyang mga mata. Her heart pounding so hard in her chest. Tila ba sasabog ang kanyang puso sa sobrang galak. I'm sorry, Rens, and I love you so much. Hinaplos nito ang buhok niya. I know, Diane. We should have trust more. Trust each other more. None of us knows what might happen. Even the next minute. Yet, still we go forward. Kailangan nating pagkatiwalaan ang isa't isa. Dahil mahal natin ang isa't isa. Yeah, I know that now. Talaga ba? His eyes twinkled. Paano kung nagka-problema tayo pagkatapos? Ay bumalik ka na naman sa Amerika o kahit saan pang lupalop ng mundo? Hindi na, I swear. Lumawak ang ngiti nito sa mga labi. Kung ganoon, we will be married very soon. Cause I want the whole world to know that you are mine. Diane smiled, happiness radiating from her lovely face. Her right hand moved upward and touched his handsome face. Kahit na hindi na ako makakapanganak pang muli, itinagilid nito ang ulo and smiled back at her. It was a genuine and full of love smile. Maski ang mga mata nito ay puno ng pagmamahal para sa kanya. Kahit pa. No more secret lovers. No more pretending. Gusto niyang isatinig iyon pero hindi na kailangan ng salita sa mga sandaling iyon. Nang ihayag ang pagpapakasal nila Rens at Diane, ay maraming nagtaka dahil kasama ang mga Antonio. Mula sa bibig ng pamilya ng dalawa ay maraming tanong ang nasagot. The rings that were used were not loose, but tight, and it steadily pushed to the base of their fingers. This time, the broken red thread finally re-entangled into a knot, binding the misfit, and throughout their life, never let go, never separate. Special Chapter Miracle. Naningkit ang mga mata ni Diane na nakatitig kay Rens. Ninisihan siya ng asawa kaya lalo siyang nairita. Tinanggal niya ang panali ng kanyang buhok at hinagis iyon sa kung saan. Her hair cascaded down her back. It was beautiful and long, Rens love her hair like that. Take that goddamn shoes off. Tumaas ang kilay nito ngunit sumunod naman. Umupo ito sa pang-isahang couch na nasa kwarto nila sa mansion ng asawa. Tinanggal nito ang itim na sapatos pagkatapos ay sumandal. Stretch his arms on the back of the couch. Nag-flex ang biceps nito. What now? He asked in an amused tone. Dami Rens, nakakainis ang artistang yun. Lapit ng lapit sa'yo, may asawa ka ng tao, Diane hissed. His gaze fired. Chocolate brown eyes that burned. She didn't like chocolates, but loved the color of his eyes, and she loved him. Nagkibit balikat ang lalaki. It's not my fault. It's because you have a handsome husband. Bumaba ang tingin niya dito. Those leather pants cup and love the erection, straining beneath them. The t-shirt made her mouth water at the way it stretched across his chest. Now, are we going to fuck or not? Diane's breathing became heavy, laborious. Take off that shirt. Binasan niya ang labi dahil sa kaba. The shirt, ulit niya. Lumapit pa siya lalo dito, bahagyang bumuka ang kanyang bibig upang maghabol ng hininga. Take the pants off now. Her voice strengthened as she gripped the hem of her shirt and all but ripped it as she tore it free of her body. The black lace push-up bra framed her firm breasts, her nipples pressed into lace that barely topped them, did little to contain them. Her fingers tore at the snap of her jeans as Rens shed the leather pants. Hinubad niya ang kanyang pantalon at ang bra. Iniwan iyon sa kung saan na lamang sa sahig. Pagkatapos ay nilapitan ang asawa. She straddled his lap and slammed her lips down on his. She was so damn furious, all right. At dahil iyon sa haliparot na artistang umaaligid sa asawa niya. Alam niya iyon. Nararamdaman niya na may gusto ito kay Rens. Kulang na nga lang at sabihin ng babae sa mga interview nito na nahuhumaling ito sa lalaki. She couldn't blame the snotty actress though. Who wouldn't fancy Lawrence Delgado? For God's sake, he was a Delgado. Isa pa, tama ito, gwapo talaga ang lalaki. Pero sa kanya si Rens, kay Diane. Antonio Delgado lamang si Rens. He belonged to her before and would always belong to her, no matter what. Rens took over the kiss. His lips stole hers, like the first time. A deep, slanted, tongue-thrusting kiss that had her moaning, arcing against him, her juice easing from her sex, preparing for her later. Definitely later. Rens took over the kiss. His lips stole hers, like the first time. A deep, slanted, tongue-thrusting kiss that had her moaning, arcing against him, her juices easing from her sex, preparing for her later. Rens took over the kiss. His lips stole hers, like the first time. A deep, slanted, tongue-thrusting kiss that had her moaning, arcing against him, her juices easing from her sex, preparing her for later. Definitely later. Binuhat siya nito at pinagpalit sila ng pwesto. Siya na ang nakaupo sa couch at ito na ang nakatunghay sa kanya. Inilapit nito ang mukha sa kanya. Magkadikit na halos ang kanilang ilong. Umangat ang sulok ng labi nito para sa isang ngiti. Aren't you so cute when you're jealous? Umingos siya at bahagya itong hinampas sa balikat. Pinaalala mo na naman ang babaeng yun? He chuckled. Kulang na lang ay kaladkarin mo ang buhok niya. Diane snorted. Ano tingin mo sa akin, violenteng tao? Tinaasan siya ng kilay ng asawa. Of course not. But maybe dahil gusto kong kalmutin ang kanyang mga mata. Humalakhak si Rens. Napangiti si Diane sa ginawa ng asawa at ikinawit ang mga kamay sa batok nito. Hinila at hinalikang muli. He placed his hand on her flustered cheeks. He kept on kissing her more and more from different positions. Merong ihihiwalay nito ang labi pagkatapos ay hahabulin niya. Bahagyang kakagatin ang ibabang labi pagkatapos ay didilaan iyon. Let me taste you, he growled, moving her lips to her nipples. They were sensitive, so sensitive that she nearly orgasmed as his tongues lashed them, his lips sucking them gently. Sinabunutan niya ang buhok nito at mas lalo pang pinaglapit ang hubad nilang katawan. Tanging underwear niya lang ang harang sa kanilang dalawa. Rens, she moaned. Nakalimutan sa isipan ang babaeng artistang pinaiinisan. Lumuhod ito sa harapan ng couch. Bumaba ang mga labi nito sa kanyang tiyan. He kissed her scars, ang mga peklat na natamo niya noong kinidnap siya ni Shem at binalak patayin. Dahil doon ay hindi na siya muling nagmodel. It's not that they couldn't afford the surgeries to remove the scars. Yes, they could, pero gusto niya ito. She wanted to remind herself that she survived those nightmares. Then he kissed her belly, then laid his cheek against it for long, breathless moments. Lumunok si Diane. Alam niya ang iniisip ng asawa niya sa mga oras na iyon. Bumara ang kanyang lalamunan. Nagbadya ang luha sa kanyang mga mata. Gusto niyang umiyak, gusto niyang magmakaawa, na sana hindi na lang nangyari iyon. Rens, tawag niya dito. Her voice was hoarse and laced with pain. Umangat ang ulo nito at malungkot siyang nginitian. She took his face at inilapit sa kanya. Dinampian siya ng halik ng asawa sa labi. Mahal na mahal kita, sinserong wika nito. So am I, princess. Kinuha nito ang kamay niyang nasa pisngi nito at dinala sa labi. So am I. Then again, his lips slanted over hers. His tongue impaled her mouth, and she was waiting on it, desperate for it. He took off her panties before he spread her thighs wider and took her with his tongue. Rens, sinigaw niya ang pangalan nito. She arced to him, feeling his tongue thrusting hard and deep inside her. She writhed beneath him, feeling him taste her, lick her. His tongue was ravenous, his moans, fueling her desires, as she felt his fingers moving lower than inserted one finger. Diane moaned for more. Napapaigig siya kada labas-pasok ng dila at daliri nito sa kanya. Rens really knows what he was doing, because a second finger fears her. You're going to give me a stroke, he groaned against the wet folds he was devouring. She cried out as his fingers slid inside her. Fuck, Diane. That's what we are doing right now, she twisted against him as his tongue circled her core. Oh yeah, that's so good. She wondered if she could pass out from the pleasure. She felt herself stretching, relaxing, eager. Oh, she was so eager for this. And then she's getting higher and higher. She's so close, and then suddenly it stopped. What? Walang sabi-sabing umangat ito. Inilagay ang mga binti niya sa magkabilang braso nito. Then he filled her. The feel of her snug grip, the sleek, wet glide of her sex over his erection, was killing him. She took a sharp breath, her hands clenched on his back, and her nails raked through it, making red marks. He could feel sweat trickling down his neck, and even that wasn't left alone. His head lowered, his tongue licked her last mouth, and her hips jerked when his teeth raked against her neck. "Rens!" ungol niya. Napasubsob ang mukha niya sa leeg ng asawa. He buried himself an inch inside her before he could stop, but the whispery whimper of her pleasure at his neck was worth it. Control was lost as with one deep cry as he pushed himself fully on her inside. Rens groaned in pleasure. Humigpit ang hawak niya sa mga binti nito. He began thrusting like there's no tomorrow. Her mouth formed a letter O at sisinghap-singhap na naghabol ng hininga. Kinagat niya ang leeg nito upang hindi makawala ang impit niyang pag-ungol. The pleasure was tearing through her. Need was like a vicious, rugged wound at her core. In her womb, her muscles clenched and wildness shuddered through her. Kung hindi ko lang alam na hindi ka maaaring magbuntis, ay sasabihin kong naglilihi ka or something. Shower said dryly beside her. Or something, Diane mumbled. Tinaasan siya ng kilay ng pinsan bago hinablot sa kanyang kamay ang manggang binabalatan. Ako na ang magbabalat. Awang-awa na ako sa ginagawa mo sa mangga. Mukhang nahubaran ng walang kamalay-malay. Kinuha na rin nito ang kutsilyo saka nito sinimulang balatan. Ayan kasi ang hirap maging mayaman, no? They're becoming imbecile. Isa lang ang hindi nakakalimutang gawin. To fuck hard. Mahina niyang hinampas ito sa braso sabay hagik-gik. Baliw talaga ang pinsan niya, parang walang filter ang bibig kung magsalita. So, untag nito. Bakit ka mga pala nandito sa unit ko? She rolled her eyes. Kasi sabi mo nabuburyong ka na. Oo. Sayaw ka nga ulit habang naka-bunny suit. Nakakalokong sabi ng pinsan niya. Napabulala siya ng tawa. Hindi niya makakalimutan kung ano bang nangyari noon. Kinuwento sa kanya ng asawa na lasing siya noong lumabas sa isang malaking cake at nagsayaw sa harapan nito. Lasing siya noong mga panahong iyon kaya kung ano-ano ang nagagawa niya. Saan si Delilah? Tanong niya makailang sandali. Nasama niya, shower mumbled. Inabot nito sa kanya ang mangga tsaka umupo sa tapat niya. Kumagat siya doon bago nagsalita. And kilala niya si Kane. Kaibigan ito ni Rens but they were complete opposite. At isa ito sa nagligtas sa kanya noon. I'm his, she hesitated before answering. His bed warmer? What? Napamulagat siya. Kamuntikan pa niyang maisuka ang mangga, but speak of suka. She really felt like puking. Napatakbo siya sa lababo and she did. Sumuka siya ng sumuka kahit wala namang lumalabas sa bibig niya. Binuksan niya ang gripo pagkatapos sumuka at sumalok ng tubig doon. Nagmumug siya. Tumayo ang pinsan niya saka siya inabutan ng pamunas. Ipupunas ng sana iyon nang mapansing basahan ang inabot nito. What the hell? Kamuntikan ko ng ipunas na tatawang sabi niya. Humagik-gik ito at muli siyang inabutan ng pamunas. This time ay malinis na iyon na panyo. Diane, shower, sing-song her name. Minsan ba nahihilo ka? Kumunot ang kanyang noo pero nagawa niyang tumango bilang habang nagpupunas ng bibig. Normal iyon bilang dating modelo at normal na nahihilo siya, lalo pa kapag napapalipasan siya ng gutom o nagda-diet. Kailan ka pa nahilig sa mangga? What? What was that for? Takang-taka na talaga siya sa pinsan. Sagutin mo na lang. This past few days and I'm not feeling well. Wait ka lang ha, dyan ka lang. Stand by ka. Give me 20 minutes and I'll be back. Natatarantang saad nito at umalis na. ni hindi man lang siya nakapagsalita. Ilang minuto ang lumipas, halos mainip na siya kakahintay sa loob ng kusina. Naisipan na niyang tumayo na at aalis doon nang dumating agad si Shower at kasama nito ang kapatid na si Stephanie Murray. Isa itong doktor. Nakasuot pa ito ng white coat, parang kagagaling lang sa trabaho. I'm not an obigay ni ate, Stephanie said with a sigh. Ang 6 na talampakang taas nito ay walang-wala sa 5'5" ni Shower. Mas nagmumukha ang babae na ate kaysa sa pinsan niya. Nagsalubong ang kilay niya sa narinig. Nagpalipat-lipat ang tingin niya sa dalawa. Obigay? What for? My sister suspected that you might be pregnant. Si Stephanie ang sumagot. Natawa siya bahagya. Ano ka ba, Shower? Nagbibiro ka ba? How come na mabubuntis ako eh? Ninatnan ka na ba? Biglang tanong nito at napatigil siya. Thought so. But, hindi na ako pwedeng manganak pa. Malungkot na saad niya. Ever heard of a miracle? Tanong nito. Diane shifted nervously on the chair. To some people, if one person survives a plane crash, it's a miracle. But for me, it was just luck. There's no such things as miracles. Tayo ang gumagawa ng sarili nating desisyon. We are the driver to our own destiny. Humalukip-kip si Shower. First death, right? Kapag namatay tayo, hindi ba at katawan lang natin ang mamamatay, hindi ang kaluluwa? Soul is eternal. That's what you call miracle. Iyong matutulog ka tapos nagising kang buhay ka pa? That's miracle. If you pray to God, then it happened. It's a miracle. There's a miracle, Diane, as long as there's the God. Nanatili siyang nakatanga doon. Ni wala siyang mahagilap na sasabihin dito. Shower then clapped her hand to ease the tension inside the room. Shall we? Wala na siyang nagawa kung hindi sumunod dito. Pumasok sila sa isang kwarto. But I'm not an obigay ni ate. There's an uncertainty in Steph's voice. I know, but you have some knowledge when it comes to this. Shower answered. Steph sighed then gestured her to sit on the bed. She did and felt her heart started hammering on her chest. Ngumiti ito sa kanya. At least that made her relax for a bit. She took a bag on the bedside table, then grabbed something inside. When did this happen? On the couch? Diane said without thinking, causing Stephanie and Shower to give her an odd look. Oh gosh, napasa po siya sa mukha at bumulalas ng tawa ang magkapatid. As Stephanie meant when she thought she got pregnant, not the location and specifics. Maaari na siyang lamunin ng lupa ngayon. I'm sorry, Stephanie said, bringing her laughter under control. Kahit si Shower ay tumigil na sa pagtawa. I know you're nervous. I just never had someone tell me that before. I'm so stupid. No, umiling si Shower. You're just scared. Stephanie cleared her throat to stop herself from laughing again. So, when was the incident on the couch? About 6 weeks ago. Nag-iinit ang mga pisnging sagot niya. Stephanie lifted the object she had in her hand, which looked like a circle within a circle. And she turned the inner one. Just checking your due date. Aren't you going to do test or something? Yes, but I could almost see the pulse on your neck. Looks like you really are pregnant. Diane gasped hard. How come? Nagkibit balikat ito at humarap kay Shower. Ate, call her doctor noong time na nakunan siya doon sa ibang bansa. Maybe something's went wrong with the test he had done. Tumango si Shower. Ibinigay niya ang number dito at saka ito lumabas ng kwarto. In the meantime, untag sa kanya ni Stephanie. May inilabas itong PT galing sa bag. Please on that thing. She took it warily. Pull over, bulong ni Diane. Narinig yun ni Rens. Binigyan niya ng isang sulyap ang asawa subalit hindi sinunod ito. Kanina pa ito tahimik simula na manggaling sa unit ni shower. "I'm not pulling over," he said abruptly. "I need to tell you something. It's about us." Her voice was quiet. Now that got his attention. In an instant, all kinds of horrible things were going through his mind. "Babalik ka ba sa Amerika?" She made a face of derision. "No." "May iba ba? Iiwan mo na naman ba ako, Diane?" "Oh gosh, I can't believe." "Pull over the fucking car," she screeched. "O gusto mong buksan ko itong pinto at tumalon?" Dahil sa sigaw at banta nito ay napilitan siyang gawin ang iniuutos ng asawa. He pulled onto a side road, went down a few hundred yards, got the motor and turned to her. "What is it, sweetheart? Is it about the actress again?" "Nilayuan ko na yun. Sinabi kong idedemanda ko siya pag lumapit pa." "I swear, I have nothing to do with her." "Ikaw lang ang mahal ko, ikaw lang ang mamahalin ko." Nagpapanik na saad niya. She glared at him and grabbed at the door handle in frustration. Shove it open and got out. Napamura siya sa kanyang isipan at sinundan ng asawa. Sinabunutan niya ang buhok. Fuck, lately, he couldn't understand his wife. Nagiging mainitin ang ulo nito just like now. She was standing a distant away, with her arms folded under her breasts, when he spotted her in the darkness of the night. "Do you believe in miracles, Lawrence?" Nagsalubong ang kanyang mga kilay dahil sa tanong nito. She tilted her face up to his, and he saw tears spilling down her cheeks. His expression fell, and he was totally unprepared for the feeling of dread that went through him. What the hell happened? His chest hurt at seeing her like that. Hindi niya alam kung pang ilang beses na niyang nakita itong umiiyak at hindi niya gusto iyon. "Answer my question," she sniffed. "Of course, I believe in miracles." Napahilamos siya sa kanyang mukha. "Noong araw na nakomaka, I prayed to God to wake you up, and He did. Pero hindi lang siya ang gumawa niyon. You did too. Your will to live, sweetheart." Tumango-tango ito na hindi pa rin tumitigil sa pag-iyak. "Sweetheart," hinawakan niya ang siko nito at saka hinigpit at niyakap. "Hush, what is it? Tell me what is it?" It's a miracle," hagulgol nito. Nagsalubong ang kilay niya. "What?" "I'm pregnant." It took him a minute to absorb that, and with it all of the events that went on over the past few years. You're pregnant?" he finally said. Nanlaki ang kanyang mga mata. Halos sumabog ang dibdib niya sa bilis ng tibok ng kanyang puso. She nodded. "Yours." "Fuck!" Hindi makapaniwalang bulalas ni Rens. Humigpit ang yakap niya sa asawa at isinubsob ang mukha sa leeg nito. "Oh my God, Diane. How come?" "Yung doktor," she sobbed harder. "Nagkamali siya ng test. Naipagpalit ang resulta namin noong isang pasyente." Her hands clenched on his back. She couldn't stop weeping. Ni hindi na nga halos maintindihan ang sinasabi nito. "Gosh!" Pagak siyang natawa. Ni hindi na rin napigilan ang kanyang pagluha. If someone would see them now, they would probably think na nababaliw na silang mag-asawa. But he didn't give a damn. He felt so overjoyed to the point that he wanted to scream at the top of his lungs. Umangat siya ng ulo. Hinaplos niya ang pisngi at pinunasan ang luhang dumadaloy doon. "We're going to make sure that you take it easy, and that our baby will be taken care of properly." Garangal ang boses na saad niya. "I don't want to lose this baby as much as you don't. I love you, Rens," she crushed. She rushed out in breath of air and kissed him all over his face. Isinubsob ni Rens ang mukha sa buhok ni Diane and whispered words of love. Then he thanked God for that wonderful miracle. The end. Thank you for listening.